Sun Life Stadium. It's the fourth game of the preseason. The Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dolphins preseason football in high definition on CBS 4 is sponsored in part by Publix Supermarkets. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. By Jeep. Get a great summer deal on a legendary Jeep SUV at the Jeep Summer Clearance Event. By Broward Health. Wherever you live in Broward, there's a Broward Health facility close by. Broward Health. Powerful medicine. And by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible.
It's Game 4 of the Dolphins' expanded preseason and the one that will most closely resemble a regular season contest. Starters going to play through the first half, and many of them into the third quarter. Figures to be the truest indicator yet of what the 2013 Dolphins have to offer. Welcome inside Sun Life Stadium. It's been too long. I'm Jesse Agler, and tonight we've got the dress rehearsal game between the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To make sense of it all, the Hall of Famer Bob Griese is with us, Nat Moore as well, and there is a lot to discuss tonight. So let's jump right into our Chrysler Keys, Nat, and talk about the offensive line. Still, with just this game and another left in the preseason, some questions to be answered.
Well, the question still is the right guard position. Josh Shimoda has started the first 3 preseason games. Hopefully tonight we'll see John Jerry. He started 16 games last year, only gave up 2 sacks. He needs to get some work. He needs to work with Tyson Clabo, who is also a new tackle, a right tackle. They need the same work that you got Jonathan Martin and Richie Incognito getting on the other side. And to help that, we need the tight end. Bob, what's going on with the tight end position?
Well, you know, Dustin Keller went down last week. He was one of the new toys for Ryan Tannehill. He had 3 new toys that we brought in the offseason. Wallace, a wide receiver, Gibson, a wide receiver. But those things happen. Injuries happen. The next guy up at tight end is Charles Clay. Clay caught 54 balls and 5 touchdowns the last 2 years with this team. He's a good replacement. They've got depth at the position. Next man up, and it's Charles Clay. We'll see him tonight.
Yep, that's what Joe Philbin's got to figure out, and the head coach is standing by with Kim Bocamper down on the sidelines.
Right, I'm here with Coach Philbin. Well, Coach, this is a game where you want to see extended time out of your starters. Offensively, what are you looking for out of this group?
We want to get balanced. We want to start off fast. You know, we'd like to be able to establish both the run and the pass. And the number one thing, we got to do a better job early in the game protecting our quarterback.
Defensively, we haven't seen much of this team, but when they've been on the field, at least the first unit, they've done what you've wanted. They've taken the ball away. Will that continue to be the story for these guys this evening?
Yeah, you know, we told them this is our first opportunity to get on our home field. We want to really swarm, get 11 guys around the football, get our nose, our hands on the ball, and pry it loose.
All right, Coach, good luck.
All right, thanks, Ken.
All right, Coach Philbin, an important game for the Miami Dolphins, an important game for Joe Philbin. Let's go back up to the booth with Jesse, Nat, and Bob.
All right, Bo, thanks a lot. Tonight's weather update is brought to you by Dodge. Nice and warm here in South Florida. First game for the Dolphins at Sun Life Stadium since 2 days before Christmas. Temperature that day a little bit different than it is tonight. Partly cloudy skies, no rain in the forecast. That's always good news here in South Florida because you never know when you're going to get a little bit of the wet stuff. A look at Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, guys, we expect to see more Ryan Tannehill tonight than in any of the previous preseason games, and we should get a pretty decent idea of what this offense is going to look like week 1.
Well, I think early in the preseason they were working on trying to get the football down the field, throw in the football. Last week we saw Tannehill work with Mike Wallace, Brandon Gibson, and then out. The running game, Bob.
Well, I think, Nat, this is the first week that they actually game plan. They watched some tape of the Tampa Bay, the opponent for that week, and actually put in some plans, some game plans for that, and they will be calling plays to succeed against that style, their style of defense.
Michael Kanan's going to kick it off for Tampa Bay. The Dolphins will be getting the ball. That's Marcus Thigpen back to return for the Dolphins. Last season had a punt return and a kick return for a touchdown in the regular year. And we'll get ready to see him back at Sun Life Stadium for the first time in a long time. Kanan does some punting and the kickoffs. He puts the foot into it. And Thigpen's not going to have a chance. This one might have gone all the way through the uprights. And so Ryan Tannehill and the Miami Dolphin offense will start things out at their own 20-yard line. Tannehill last week in Houston, 10 of 15, 141 yards and a touchdown, a passer rating of 119 as he finally hooked up with Mike Wallace for that touchdown pass. Wallace and Gibson split to the far side. Brian Hartline down low. Tannehill out of the shotgun to get things started against this Tampa Bay defense that was last in the NFL against the pass last year. And Brandon Gibson cannot make the catch. That one goes in and out of his hands. Starting lineups for the Dolphin offense brought to you by Toyota as we get a look at who's out there for Miami tonight.
Gibson was one of the new toys that they brought in from St. Louis. Had it right in his hands and dropped it.
On second down at 10 after the incompletion, Tannehill will try and throw again. He's under pressure, fires over the middle, and it's caught for a first down by Mike Wallace. 12 yards on the first completion of the night. Leonard Johnson had the coverage in the tackle, but Tannehill and Wallace kind of picking up right where they left off.
Well, one of the things that you talk about is Wallace being able to go deep, but watch him go up high and get this football knowing he's going to get hit. You know, veteran receiver that helps his quarterback out there.
Both guys got hit. Tannehill took a good blow as well.
First down at 10 after the 12-yard game. Be a handoff. Lamar Miller, right side, has a seam. Miller with a first down, and Miller with more before he's finally pushed out of bounds by Deshaun Goldson. Lamar Miller, 23 yards on his first touch of the night.
The right side of that line, Claybo and John Jerry, 74. Getting outside. I like the play calling. 2 passes to start it off, and then a run. Nice pickup.
Last year, the Buccaneers allowed just 3.5 yards per carry. That was best in the NFL. Lamar with much more than that, 21 yards on his first carry of the night. First down at 10. Dolphins with a couple of chunk plays against this Buccaneer defense. Tannehill, quick pass left side, and it's caught. Brandon Gibson has this one. He pushes forward. Flag comes in. He's taken down by Jonathan Banks after a 5-yard pickup. Mike Carey is our referee tonight.
Offside, defense number 94, 5-yard penalty is still first down, 5 yards to go. Lined up in the neutral zone.
Adrian Claiborne in his 3rd year with the penalty. And speaking of this Tampa Bay defense, let's take a look at their starting lineup.
Last year, this defense was the best in the league against the run and the worst in the league against the pass.
Get a look at Greg Schiano. Spent some time at the University of Miami as the defensive coordinator under Butch Davis. Then went on to Rutgers. Coached 11 seasons for the Scarlet Knights and really turned that program into something respectable, which it had never been before. On first down and 5, they'll hand it off to Miller. He falls forward, comes up maybe a yard shy of the first down. Well, Lamar Miller with another nice play. Mark Barron, the second-year safety out of Alabama, with the tackle.
Well, if you're going to be a running back in the NFL, you've got to have great feet, good change of direction. This play starts right up the middle, but a nice job of Lamar Miller by him bouncing it outside, being very patient into the hole. Nice little jump to his right to get back in the hole.
Last week, 5 carries for Lamar, including a 4-yard touchdown run, his first touchdown of the season. So a fullback check into the game for Miami. It's Javorsky Lane. Play action from Tannehill. Ryan will go right side, and it's caught. Mike Wallace again, 10 yards on 2nd and 1. And it's funny, first few weeks in the preseason, when are Tannehill and Wallace going to get on the same page? Well, the last couple of weeks, they seem to be connecting pretty well.
Well, you know, this is what it's all about. The quarterback, receiver being on the same page as we go back. Now watch this route. Everybody talks about his inability. Now he's adjusting. This is great blocking up front by the offensive line because Tannehill was able to scramble around and buy time and then get the ball to Wallace.
Miller again on 1st and 10, and Lamar bounces outside, finally ridden down by Michael Adams. He gets 4 more yards on the play, and again, this is the defense for Tampa Bay that was number 1 against the run last year.
And you saw a little pat on the helmet there by Miller. Means, hey, give me a break.
We'll get a look at Daniel Thomas as he comes in.
Well, Bob, he's only carried the ball 9 times the whole preseason.
Well, that's
right?
true. Well, he ought to be arrested, shouldn't he? It ain't heavy, is it?
A lot of talk about the way those guys have been used. They set up the screen to Thomas. He had a 27-yard reception last week. This time he gets the first down. And Daniel Thomas picks up 7 yards on the reception from Tannehill, his first play of the night. Northwestern High School's Levante David with the tackle.
Good blocking out front by Mike Pouncey. He's snapping the ball, getting out in the screen, picking up blocks.
Here's a look at the offensive lineman. They're sneaking out. Pouncey sneaks out. The rest of them show screen, show pass, and then get out into the screen as many as you can.
Dolphins in the red zone, 1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Drop it off underneath. Thomas with another catch. That's inside the 15-yard line. Give him about 5 yards on the play. Lavonte David with the tackle again. He is a tackling machine out of the University of Nebraska. 112 last season. He also had an interception against the Dolphins here at Sun Life in the preseason.
Matt, the pass protection so far in this first drive has been excellent.
Been extremely good, and they've been able to pound the football. You want to be able to mix it up.
Tannehill on 2nd down and 6. It's again Daniel Thomas. And Daniel Thomas pushing forward with some help from Richie Incognito. About a yard shy of the first down. 5 yards, and it looks like it'll be 3rd and short for the Dolphins. Mason Foster with the tackle, as maybe the fastest pace we've seen from this offense so far this preseason.
Well, coaches talked about getting off to a fast start, playing fast. You know, that time, good blocking up front between the right guard and the center. Mike Pouncey coming in, helping John Jerry as they get this block. You know, you talk about chemistry and cohesiveness. This is what it's all about. Now, you see the two guys double team. They give you a crease. As a running back, all you need is a crease.
Charles Clay, Deion Sims check in on 3rd and short. It's Clay in the backfield, and there's that #1 rush defense. Daniel Thomas dropped in the backfield. The rookie, Akeem Spence, wraps him up. It'll be 4th down coming for the Dolphins, and we'll see if the offense is going to stay out on the field in this home opener in the preseason.
Well, it looked like Joe Philbin has made his decision. It didn't take long, Bob.
Well, he knows he can make the field goal, or knows he has a pretty good chance. He just wants to establish something here. Maybe he's got some good 4th and 3 plays up his sleeve.
Lamar Miller checks back into the game. He's going to split out in the slot at the top of the screen. That's Wallace split wide. 4th down and 3. Tannehill by himself. QB draw anybody? Nope, it'll be a quick pass caught by Hartline at the 5-yard line, and that's good for a 1st down. Mark Barron with the tackle. Nice job by Hartline getting open and making the catch.
Well, the big thing here is getting inside of the cornerback. Nice route, nice throw by Tannehill, but a good job of showing the quarterback your numbers, Bob. Anytime you run an inside route, if you can show the quarterback your numbers and get in between the defender and the quarterback, you got a shot complete the pass.
1st and goal at the 5-yard line. Lamar Miller trying to get outside. He can't. He's dropped, and there is a flag on the play on the far side. Nice job by Jonathan Banks, the rookie out of Mississippi State, wrapping him up. Wait and get the penalty from Mike Carey.
Illegal formation. Offense is declined. 2nd down.
So after the loss on the play, it'll be 2nd down and goal. Dolphins originally at the 5-yard line, and they get pushed back 5, maybe 5.5 yards on that play.
Well, if you're going to throw the football on 2nd down, Bob, it's not a bad thing to
got a little bit
lose
more
a little yardage, you know.
Room to throw it, huh?
Yeah.
12th play of the drive. Hartline getting his hand looked at on the sideline as the Dolphins come out 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. A little bit of a bunch formation to the near side. Miller in the backfield behind Tannehill. Ryan will throw on 2nd and goal, looking to get rid of it. Swings it to Miller at the 10 and pushed out of bounds at the 8-yard line by Michael Adams. Gain of 3. 3rd and goal coming for this Dolphin offense.
Good protection up front by the O-line. This gives Ryan a chance to scan the field and then go out to his outlet receiver, Lamar Miller. Last week he wasn't able to catch that football. This week he makes the show-handed catch.
Dolphins have already picked up a 4th and 3 down in the red zone. Now 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. They'll bunch it up again on the near side. Hartline is back in the game after they were looking at his hand. Tannehill looking right, rolling right, he's just got to get rid of it. Flag comes in on the near side as Tannehill was under pressure. It was Claiborne and Gibson, couple of the defensive linemen, and depending on what happens here, Miami may be faced with another 4th down decision.
Illegal contact, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic. 1st down.
Big call that time for the Dolphins. It's 3rd down. John Jerry gets beat at the snap of the football inside. Tannehill doesn't have much time. He just gets rid of the football, but illegal contact downfield gives the Dolphins a 1st down, a chance to push it in, Robert.
They didn't announce who the penalty was on, but Jonathan Banks was kind of lobbying the officials. He was their second-round pick back in April's draft. First selection that the Buccaneers made. They didn't have a first-rounder. And that's a tough penalty now, 1st and goal at 4.
Darrell Rivas, the guy they picked up from the Jets, is not playing.
Miller from the 4 slices back inside, pushing forward, and maybe gets a half a yard or a yard on the play. Buccaneer run defense becoming more stout as the Dolphins get closer to the goal line. Gerald McCoy with the tackle there.
Well, Bob alluded earlier that this was the #1 rush defense in football last year, and now you're starting to see why.
Charles Clay in the game. He, of course, is expected to pick up some of the slack after the injury to Dustin Keller. Clay lined up on the left side of the formation. Hartline near him, but it'll be a handoff to Lamar Miller. Kind of slips in the backfield. McCoy tripped him up. And again, not much, if anything, for Lamar Miller. And another 3rd down coming for the Dolphins.
Well, they certainly have had a bunch of plays inside the 15-yard line.
And this is, go ahead, Bob.
I'm just going to say, they made it on 4th down one time, and then Tampa Bay gave them a 1st down on a defensive penalty.
3rd and goal from the 4-yard line. Hartline in motion. Tannehill to the end zone. Hartline incomplete. Pass was broken up by Jonathan Banks. Hartline tried to make the circus catch. He couldn't. Another 4th down, and this time it looks like they will kick the field goal.
Let's go back and watch this play. You've got Brian Hartline in motion, and he's working on Jonathan Banks. He gets the inside position. You'd like for the quarterback to lead him away, more at a 90-degree angle.
So Caleb Sturgis comes on. His first kick at Sun Life Stadium as a member of the Miami Dolphins, and the 22-yard field goal is up and good. So a long drive for the Dolphins results in 3 points. 6:35 to go in the opening quarter. It's Miami 3 and Tampa Bay nothing. Here on the Fins this year, make sure to check all the options out at Dolphins.com. Season tickets, single game tickets, and the all-new 3-pack. Buy direct and save at Dolphins.com. Long scoring drive for Miami here in the first quarter. It's brought to you by Audi. 16 plays, 76 yards, and they took 8 minutes, 21 seconds off the clock.
That's a great opening drive, except for one thing.
Well, you got to get the ball in the end zone. One of the problems the Dolphins have had the last several years is getting down inside the 20-yard line and not being able to punch it in. You've got to punch it in when you're down there.
Eric Page runs up about a yard deep in the end zone, takes the kick from Caleb Sturgis. Page bouncing outside and pulled down shy of the 25-yard line. Jimmy Wilson with the special teams tackle. 24-yard return. Tampa Bay coming out down 3-0. Josh Freeman and the Tampa Bay offense coming out onto the field. Great year last year for Freeman. 7-9 season. Became the first quarterback in Buccaneer history to throw for 4,000 yards in a season. So far in the preseason, 6 of 10, 42 yards. He's only played in 4 offensive series. He may double that here tonight.
Very talented quarterback that, they're expecting big things out of him. He's a big kid at 6'6".
Doug Martin is his go-to running back. Had a great rookie year last year. He got dinged in the head, though, last week in New England. He will not play tonight, doesn't appear at least. And Ryan Leonard is going to come out and start behind him. And on first down, it will be Leonard from the 22-yard line. Falls forward to the 26, pickup of 4 from Brian Leonard. Nice gang tackle. And take a look at the Tampa Bay starting offense minus the muscle hamster, Doug Martin, tonight.
This offense for Tampa Bay was pretty good last year. They were 9th overall in the league in total offense, 15th rushing the ball, and 10th in passing. It says some pretty good stuff about Josh Freeman.
Leonard in his 7th year out of Rutgers, one of a large handful of Rutgers guys on this team playing for Greg Schiano. 8 total players on the roster right now played for the Scarlet Knights, and most of them played for Schiano. Leonard wrapped up in the backfield. He's got nowhere to go. Dolphins were all over him. Soliai was there. Odrick was there. Nisi was there. Nice job by the Dolphin defense swarming to the point.
Well, guys, this is sort of like it should be. Anytime you play against a team that's supposed to be pretty good against the rush, you want to show them that you're a little bit better. As we see the Dolphins defensive line show their wear and tear against the run as well.
Take a look at the defensive starters for the Dolphins. Olivier Vernon once again. It's Jared Odrick getting the start. Interesting to see if we get to see Randy Starks tonight. And there he is, appearing in a preseason game for the first time in 2013. 3rd down and 10 after the 4-yard loss, as Freeman's going to try and spread it out here and pick up a 3rd down. Out of the shotgun, he'll swing it quickly right side. Williams, nice job, gets away from one. Williams out to the 35, where he is finally dropped. Ball comes out. Chris Clemens with the tackle. Tampa Bay falls on it, though, as it's the tight end Stocker recovering the fumble, but 14 yards on 3rd and 10.
Lots of stuff going on there. Dolphins were blitzing their nickelback, Patterson, number 24. Clemens is in good shape to make the play and just misses the tackle, and then comes up from behind and knocks the ball loose.
Yeah, Nolan Carroll there as well. After the play, 1st down and 10. They'll fake the handoff to Leonard. Little boot action, saw a lot of that last week. And the pass is dropped. Vincent Jackson on the far sideline, incomplete. Carroll was there for the coverage, and it'll be 2nd down and 10 coming. Got to talk about these Dolphins corners. You see Nolan Carroll out there. They let Richard Marshall go during the week. He signs with San Diego. It's going to be Patterson, Grimes, Carroll. Looks like that's the combination of guys early on for Miami.
Well, you know, we talked with Coach Carl earlier, and he has a lot of confidence in Nolan Carroll. You know, Nolan's been around here a couple years now, understands the defense, and has shown that he can make some big plays for you. Interception earlier this year.
Patterson. Sorry, Matt. Patterson, a great story. 7th year in the NFL. This is his 5th team. And this year, Dimitri Patterson said the first time in his career, he really felt he was given the opportunity to compete for a starting job. Leonard again on the carry, gets out to about the 41-yard line. Give him 6, and it'll be another 3rd down coming for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but Jesse, these Dolphin corners, I mean, they got to come from big schools, right?
There you go. Dimitri Patterson went to Tuskegee. Brent Grimes, the starter on the other side, Shippensburg.
So what are you guys saying? Those are not big schools? Those are football factories, man.
You got a Red Raider and a Golden Tiger, and I'll buy you a soda if you can tell me which is which.
And they're 2 of the better corners in the league.
3rd down and 5. The rookie from the University of Miami, Mike James, checks in at running back for Tampa Bay. Had a really nice game last week. He was their last draft pick this year, and they're pretty excited about him. Be a little toss to him. He got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to go. Donnell Ellerbe brings James down in the backfield, and Tampa Bay is going to have to punt. 5-yard loss, and Donnell Ellerbe in his first game as a Dolphin at Sun Life Stadium was a captain, and now he makes a big play.
Ellerbe's on the left side there, running right through. You can't see his number, but you can see his, what do you call those, Nat?
The dreads.
The dreads.
You know, when we talked to him earlier this week, I said, well, tell me what you're good at. What's your best? He said, well, I'm good at everything.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't bashful.
Well, he's a 3-down back.
3-down linebacker, yes.
Yeah.
Canaan's going to punt. Marcus Thigpen back to return for Miami. Dolphins came with some pressure. Thigpen running up, calls the fair catch, gets bumped into, ball is loose. Tampa Bay's got it. And they're going to whistle it down. You got flags on the ground, and it looks like you got Tampa Bay ball.
And that's because his own man got blocked into him. You know, if it would have been the Tampa Bay defender, he would have had to give him room, Bob. But because you've got a blocker out front, he gets knocked into the receiver.
Yeah.
Ball is live.
Adam Hayward's the guy that came up with it, special teams captain last couple years for
The
them.
ball was first touched by the receiving team, then recovered by the kicking team. 1st down.
Well, what should happen here, Nat, is the receiver, 34, Thigpen, should be yelling at Carroll, number 28, so he gets out of the way. But he was pushed, Carroll was pushed right back into the ball.
Did it touch
He didn't know where it was. He didn't know where it was.
Well, but that's also Carroll's responsibility to know where his punt returner is. You can't get pushed back into the receiver.
Well, for all Carroll knows, the punt's going way back 15 yards behind him, and he's blocking the gunner so that his man can get a return started.
Grace, I used to be a punt returner.
Yeah?
And I'm going to tell you this here.
What'd you use
My
to holler?
job is to catch the ball. And if you're fair catching the ball, you're not hollering Pete or anything. You only do that if the ball is going to hit the ground. You're telling them to get out of the way. You know, they got to take those guys on a lot sooner, which gives you an opportunity to catch the football and turn upfield.
Big opportunity for Tampa Bay after the miscue on special teams by the Dolphins. They start out at their own 23-yard line. Little pitch to Mike James. They got him lined him up in the backfield. Gets away from one, doesn't get away from Paul Soliai. Big Paul brings him down. Loss of 2 on the play. Nice job again by the defensive front of the Dolphins.
Well, that time Olivier Vernon was not fooled, got outside, turned the play back inside. That's his job. You know, containment, bring it back to the linebackers, and did a nice job of turning James back inside.
Vernon and James, teammates at the University of Miami. 2nd down and 12 now. You get a look at OB. And with Deion Jordan kind of progressing slowly from the shoulder injury, Vernon's the reason you don't have to be too worried about it.
Yeah, Vernon has had a great training camp.
On 2nd and 12, Freeman looking for the end zone, incomplete. Flag comes in. Brent Grimes had the coverage. They were looking for Vincent Jackson, and this one might get called on Miami.
Dolphins had a big blitz going. Grimes knew he was back there by himself.
First down.
Pass interference on Brent Grimes, who had an interception last week in Houston.
Well, he's beat, so he just reaches out and grabs Jackson, not giving up the touchdown. You know, you'd rather line up and play another down versus giving the touchdown.
Yeah, Kevin Coyle's defense, Dolphins defense, has been very aggressive. At times sending 5-6 defensive guys, and then, like I said, Grimes knew he was single covered, just took the penalty instead of giving up the touchdown.
A quick first quarter is winding down. Dolphins leading the Bucs 3-0. Leonard on 1st and goal from the 8, all the way down towards the goal line. He reaches for it, and they'll put him down just shy. Chris Clemens with the tackle. 7.5 for Leonard. 2nd and goal from inside the 1 coming for the Bucs.
Brian Leonard is a 7-year veteran out of Rutgers. You know, originally was with Chicago, came in this year as an unrestricted free agent. You know, Coach Schiano is got quite a few Rutgers players that he's brought in, guys that he knows.
Leonard still back there on 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. Bynum, the tight end, lined up at fullback. It'll be Leonard, and he's got his touchdown. 2nd time this preseason, Brian Leonard finds the end zone for Tampa Bay. Bucs take the lead on the Dolphins with 1:06 to go here in the first quarter.
Well, that was a gift from the Dolphins. They just had a little mess up in the special teams, gave them a turnover, and they took it in.
Ryan Lindell, the veteran, signed on Tuesday, is going to come in and attempt the point after. Greg Schiano had to sign a kicker this week. Connor Barth, their original kicker, tore his Achilles over the summer. Lawrence Tynes dealing with a toe issue, and so the first-year guy Dimke and Lindell competing. Lindell, Dolphin fans have seen plenty of over the years, puts it through. Bucs 7 and the Dolphins 3 as you get another look at Brian Leonard finding the end zone for Tampa Bay. Coverage tonight provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Got the spirit of innovation high above Sun Life Stadium tonight. Matt Lucia, captain. Got Phil DeMasi, Kyle Thompson on board running the cameras. Beautiful night. Could have been way hotter, I'll say that, for the time of year. Marcus Thigpen back to return the kick for the Dolphins, who trail 7-3, goes over his head out of the end zone, and Miami will start it off at the 20-yard line, trailing 7-3 to the Buccaneers in their preseason home opener.
Welcome back to Dolphins trail the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 7-3 there in the first quarter here at Sun Life Stadium. Time for news and notes from around the NFL brought to you by Chevrolet, and they're talking Super Bowl in the nation's capital, and that is right. Mike Shanahan thinks they have the goods to go all the way. According to Shanahan, his players believe that they have what it takes to win the Super Bowl. Their owner, Dan Snyder, has given the team all the resources they need. RG3 looks like he's healthy and can be ready to start the season. So in Washington, once again, the Skins are talking Super Bowl.
All right, Bo, thanks a lot. Hand off to Daniel Thomas on first down, trying to get the edge. He's wrapped down and knocked down. Levante David, that tackling machine, was the guy that slowed him down. Leonard Johnson came up with the hit afterwards. No gain on the play from Daniel Thomas, and David running sideline to sideline. Miami native played at Northwestern.
Yeah, he was their leading tackler last year, and you can see why. He's got that great speed, and, nobody gets a hand on him.
On second down and 9, Tannehill will fake the handoff this time. Finds Gibson over the middle, and Brandon Gibson gets out to the 36-yard line before he's touched down by Deshaun Goldson. 14 yards and a first down. Ryan Tannehill now 7 of 9 tonight.
I like the way that Brandon Gibson lays out for this football. Makes sure of the catch.
The fake goes to hold the middle linebacker, and then you throw the ball right over the middle linebacker's head.
Couple of catches for 32 yards last week for Gibson. Wallace goes up, can't make the reception. In and out of his hands. Not a perfect ball, but one that was there for the taking.
Well, with the pride that Mike Wallace have, guys, he knows he should catch them. That he expects to catch everything. But this is a ball that's a little high, very tough catch. But a guy of his caliber normally makes that catch.
Michael Egnew checks into the game for the Dolphins. Second down and 10. Got to watch those tight ends very, very closely tonight. The handoff to Daniel Thomas is wrapped up in the backfield. Akeem Spence there, and that is the end of the first quarter. It has been a quick first quarter, and the Buccaneers lead it 7-3. Miami had a long drive that resulted in 3. The Bucs 7 points off a turnover. Second quarter when we come back.
Dolphins preseason football in high definition on CBS 4 is sponsored in part by Chevrolet, by AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. We think possible. And by Chrysler, imported from Detroit.
Start of the second quarter here at Sun Life Stadium. Dolphins equipment team with a home game for the first time since 2 days before Christmas. Want to remind you can join the conversation on Twitter tonight. Use the hashtag FinsChat. Third down and 11 to start the second quarter for Ryan Tannehill. They go 5 wide. Tannehill out of the shotgun over the middle. Tip nearly intercepted and incomplete. Michael Adams got his hands on the ball. He was looking for Charles Clay over the middle. Wasn't all that close, and the Dolphins will punt for the first time tonight.
Well, he and Charles Clay, the backup tight end to Dustin Keller, were not on the same page on that route, Nat.
Nah, look, you look like the quarterback's throwing in one place and the tight end is streaking through the middle of the field. As he looked like he expected him to hook up.
8 punts last week for Brandon Fields, including that 66-yarder. Eric Page back to return as Fields booms it, and Page is going to field it at about the 5-yard line. Page with a little bit of room. Eric Page brought down by Austin Spittler at the 20-yard line. Julius Pruitt there as well. A couple of guys that have done it for the Dolphins on special teams the last couple of years. We'll take a break. When we come back, Tampa Bay with the ball, leading 7-3. How'd you like to win exclusive Dolphins experiences just by doing the things you do every day? Join the Fin Club and start earning points to cash in for unique rewards and experiences. It's all free. So go to finclub.miamidolphins.com. How about that? Get your picture taken with the starting quarterback. That ain't bad. After the punt, Tampa Bay's offense comes back out. They're leading this one 7-3 early second quarter. First and 10 from the 20-yard line. Former Hurricane Mike James back in the backfield. No Doug Martin tonight for Josh Freeman and the Buccaneers. Freeman wants to throw on first down, tipped and incomplete. Nice job defensively by the Dolphins. He was looking for Vincent Jackson. Had a little bit of a slow start for Freeman. Nice job by Donnell Ellerbe getting in the way of that pass.
Dolphins also come with a blitz where they blitz the slot defender. Try and put pressure on Josh Freeman.
They've been doing that quite a bit here, Matt. We've only gone barely into the second quarter, and he's come 2 or 3 times. That's Patterson is the corner, is the slot guy coming on the nickelback.
Shows blitz a little bit again on second down. He'll stay in coverage. Freeman Going for Jackson, well overthrown and incomplete. It was closer to the safety, Chris Clemens, than it was his intended receiver. Nice coverage by Brent Grimes.
Well, Brent Grimes, you're talking about a mismatch, or you think you've got a mismatch, because Jackson is 6'5", 230, and then you look at Brent Grimes, 5'10", 183.
Yeah.
I mean, but he's a feisty cornerback that will take on all challengers.
3rd down and 10 coming. Grimes about as an athletic a guy as there is in the National Football League. At 5'10", you would worry about him against some of those bigger wide receivers, but he gets it done. There's that slow start for Freeman. On 3rd down, under pressure, going to go down. Jared Odrick got him in the backfield. Little Pee-wee, there it is. First sack of the preseason for Jared Odrick, and the Bucs quickly got a punt.
Nice job by Jared of just keeping vision. The pocket broke down, Bob, and then as Freeman started to scramble up, he came off and made the tackle.
Yeah, Odrick had good vision, good pressure on the left tackle, and good vision as this quarterback stepped up. Odrick put him down.
Freeman was under pressure constantly last week against the Patriots. Sacked 3 times in that game. Kanan punting from his own 5-yard line. Marcus Thigpen, as a flag comes in, fields it at the 32 right on the sideline, doesn't really have anywhere to go, and he's pushed out of bounds there. A 53-yard punt, and we got to check the penalty here.
One of their guys went out of bounds. I don't know if he came back in. You're supposed to come back in as soon as you can.
Yeah. The hat off of the official means the guy ran out of bounds, so they were tracking that.
A member of the kicking team went out of bounds and now come back in bounds immediately. It's a 15-yard penalty. Sets at the dead ball spot. 1st down, timeout.
There you go.
They want them to re-kick the ball. It's a 15-yard penalty.
I don't know. If I was that guy, I'd stay out of bounds too, Dad.
Oh,
Adams didn't want any part of Don Jones.
They don't hit you when you're out of bounds.
That's it.
Adams has the penalty called on him, so the Dolphins will get a little bump when it comes to field position there, trailing 7-3 early on in this quarter.
Yeah, they haven't marked off the 15 yards yet.
Well, looks like they're going to make them re-kick it.
Yeah. I think that was the late correction you heard from Mike Carey. Is that they're going to go ahead and re-kick it.
Foul is half the distance through goal.
And
Yeah.
guys, when you have a punt returner like Thigpen, you want to make them re-kick it, and you're hoping that they can block the flyer. I mean, that time, if they get a block, there's plenty of running room. That was a long kick where he would have had some time to do something with it. So, you know, they've got to do a better job of blocking the flyers going down.
So Kanan's going to get another hack at it.
Excuse me, Jesse, go ahead.
No, Thigpen set up at the 35. Get some rain falling
Yeah,
now,
I
too.
just got to say, we saw Joe Camino, the equipment guy, coming up to Coach Philbin with a jacket. Wanted to know if he wanted a rain jacket. Of course, it's raining. It's a preseason game in Miami.
It's called liquid sunshine at night. What are you talking about? You know, and I tell you what, I love this because for Thigpen, he gets a chance to handle a punt in the rain.
Yep.
This is all preparation for the season because you know that you're going to get some rain during the season.
They have finally marked the penalty off half the distance to the goal. And a little bit of a test here for the long snapper and the punter as well with the wet ball.
And giving Thigpen an opportunity to do a punt return.
That's Andrew Day Powell, long snapping. Kanan's got it cleanly, about a yard deep in the end zone. Thigpen again towards that far sideline at the 40-yard line. Marcus Thigpen has it, loses the handle. There's that wet ball. Tampa Bay says they have it. And they're going to try and uncover everybody. It's Buccaneer football. Second turnover for the Dolphins on a punt. This time, Thigpen loses the handle in the rain, and Tampa Bay gets another short field.
Just an outstanding job by the punter, Michael Kanan, of pinning him up against the sideline, Bob, where he's got nowhere to run.
The ball was touched by the receiving team and recovered by the kickers. 1st down.
And by the way, same guy recovered it as last time, Andrew Hayward, who's their special teams ace, special teams captain each of the last 2 years, and twice the Dolphins have had issues fielding punts. They trail Tampa Bay 7-3. Buccaneers with the ball again here in the second.
Familiar face to football fans, but the first-year special teams coach Dave Wannstedt for the Buccaneers, and the second takeaway on special teams.
Yeah, you see Tom Crabtree come in here. Great coverage by the unit, but just get that ball knocked out, and Adam Hayward, second fumble recovery of the night. It's great for the Bucs defense, or great Bucs for the great offense.
Sets him up at the 41-yard line. Mike James gets the handoff from Freeman and goes nowhere. I did want to talk about the statistic that was funny in our gathering with the coach, Greg Schiano, today. Quickly brought up to you a regular season stat in sort of game planning for this preseason game.
Yeah, this is the game where you actually do a quasi game plan. And so one of the things he talks about every single week is winning or losing the turnover battle. And he said, and I said in the open, that Miami is 5-0 in the regular season when they win the turnover battle. Right now they're 0-2. And I think their record is significantly less impressive under Philbin when they lose the turnover battle.
And already the advantage for the Bucs and the advantage on the scoreboard. Freeman sets up to throw, coming back to the football and making the catch on the sideline of Vincent Jackson. Finally, those two connect.
Yeah, Freeman's had 2 drops by Vincent Jackson. Just a boot, kind of a G pass, we used to call this, when he sets up inside the pocket still. He doesn't get outside of the pocket. Working on Brent Grimes makes a great comeback, and Brent has no chance of getting back down on that ball. That's the type of chemistry we need to see working here in Tampa. You know, Josh has, as we keep mentioning, keep answering these questions about people questioning what kind of quarterback he is, but he can make all these throws. He just needs to do it more consistently.
Mike James carries out of the 25 in the preseason game against the Patriots. You heard Greg Schiano talk about a Hall of Fame throw.
He made a couple of Hall of Fame throws. One of them was dropped by Ogletree on the sideline, but the one that he did catch was absolutely impressive.
So it's about being consistent maybe with making all the throws. Certainly with a healthy Doug Martin and Vincent Jackson and Mike Williams, there are enough people around him, and you hope a healthy offensive line with Davin Joseph back. The tight end situation still has to be sorted out. Not a lot from Stocker so
certainly
far.
Has the talent around him, Chris. That's not the issue.
On second down, plenty of time in the pocket, and the ball is tipped. It'll be third down. Now we'll talk in the second half. You know, Mark Dominic, the GM of the Bucs, I had a chance to chat with him about how he approached the contract situation, what he told Josh Freeman prior to this year. Of course, the Bucs can always franchise him if they want to at the end of the year.
They definitely have options. You know, you look at a guy like Josh and all the intangibles that he brings, the size, the strength.
He's coming off a year where he set club records in touchdowns, 27, and yardage more than 4,000.
Yeah, you don't find many guys that have this, that have what he has.
On third down, high snap, he throws, and it's caught. Not sure if it's good enough for the first down to Kevin Ogletree.
I think he's short. You know, the Dolphins are bringing a lot of pressure. It seems every time they get to third down, you know, they're bringing all out, leaving the corners out man to man.
One of the reasons that Coach Schiano may not go for it here, even though it's short, is that he wants to try out Ryan Lindell, the kicker just picked up.
But Josh does actually a really good job backing away from that pressure and delivering that football. You know, we'll talk later about how I think he compares to some of these other quarterbacks in the league.
You'll hear from him at the half. 38-yard attempt. It's up and through for the 36-year-old former Buffalo Bill, Ryan Lindell, who is going to push Derek Demke, the rookie, for the starting kicking job here in Tampa Bay. But here in South Florida, the Bucs have added to their lead.
Welcome back to Sun Life Stadium. The Dolphins trail the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 10-3 there in the second quarter. Time for our Going the Extra Mile player profile, brought to you by the South Florida Honda dealers. We're going to take a look at tight end Michael Agnew. Last year, Agnew struggled on this football team, inactive throughout most of the season. 6'5", 262. His second year out of Missouri. He was a third-round draft pick. He has become a better player during the offseason, a willing blocker, but he needs to be a blocker that moves people out of the way. He's shown the ability to catch the ball during this preseason. He's going to have an opportunity to make this team with the injury to Dustin Keller, but they'd like to see him improve his blocking and see some of his some big plays out of his pass catching ability, guys.
Thanks a lot, Bo. 5 catches, 66 yards for Agnew in the preseason. More snaps on offense than any of the other tight ends so far. Marcus Thigpen fumbled last time he touched the ball on a punt return. This time he's tripped up right at about the 20-yard line, and that's where the Dolphins will kick it back off, trailing 10-3 with 10:50 to go in the second quarter. Bucs leading the Dolphins 10-3. You get a look at Richie Incognito. He was in the news this week. Last Saturday night in Houston, got a little bit mixed up with Antonio Smith, and the defensive end of the Houston Texans has been suspended not just for the final 2 preseason games, but also the first game of the regular season. He appealed the suspension earlier this week. It was denied. You see him rip off Incognito's helmet and take a swing at him. And a nice job by Richie and Mike Pouncey, both standing there, not really reacting to it. So Incognito playing tonight. Will be playing week 1. Can't say the same of Antonio Smith. A false start situation here on the Dolphins as they take back over down 7.
Offense number 11, 5-yard penalty is still first down.
Mike Wallace, Nat, a wide receiver getting a false start.
Well, you tell wide receivers to always look in at the football, but sometimes you cheat because you're trying to read the coverage pre-snap and you're not really watching the ball. And I think that time Mike got caught.
And that play was going to be a pass, and he wanted to just get into the route a little quick.
He's already got 2 catches for 20 yards tonight, had 3 catches, including a touchdown last night. Penalties definitely an issue tonight. Tannehill looked like he wanted to take it off, couldn't, and that one off the hands of Clay and incomplete. It got a little bit scary there for a moment. Casillas was in the range defensively, but the ball off of Clay's hand and incomplete.
Well, they wanted to take the shot that time with Mike Wallace down deep, but Leonard Johnson didn't bite on it. He stayed back off. He had a cushion. Here's a nice route by Wallace, but you see Johnson just doesn't bite, and that's the reason Tannehill had to pull it down and try to dump it off to the tight end.
Second down and 15. Lamar Miller back in the game, and he falls forward to 19, 20-yard line. Another flag comes down, and it's going to be another one against the Dolphins.
You know, it's kind of interesting the way this preseason has developed, guys.
Illegal formation. Offense number 71 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You know, early in the preseason, very few calls. And here's another look at it. You'll see Jonathan Martin just not up on the line of scrimmage. He's trying to get depth so he can get the cutoff. But this week, there's been more and more flags being thrown throughout the league to hopefully get these guys ready for the season.
Well, if it's one guy, then it's another guy with the Dolphins. The first drive was a good drive. 16 plays, kicked a field goal. But ever since then, it's been...
Correction, the penalty is declined, third down.
See, it's preseason even for the officials.
Yeah, there you go.
Got a veteran crew headed by Mike Carey. So instead of 2nd and 20, I think it'll be 3rd and 15 from the 20-yard line. No coach likes penalties. No coach likes turnovers, and both of those things have been an issue tonight for the Dolphins. They trail, though, just 10-3, 3rd and long coming here.
Here you see the numbers of 25% the Dolphins have been able to convert on 3rd down.
Tannehill to the sticks. Hartline's got it, and he's got the first down. Just past the first down marker. Nice job by Brian Hartline knowing exactly where he needed to go, and he beat Jonathan Banks.
Well, Jesse, you're right on this because as he starts to work back to the line of scrimmage, now watch him know he stays right there. Now, he could have came back further, but he would have caught it and been short of the first down, and having the first down markers right in front of you sort of helps.
And the ball was a little late in getting there. You saw where Hartline was waiting for it to get there.
1st and 10 at the 31-yard line. Be a handoff to Lamar Miller looking for room, finds a little, and gets up to about the 38-yard line. Lamar Miller moving forward, gets 7 yards, and you wonder if the Dolphins are going to pick the pace back up again as Michael Agnew checks in for Miami. Marvin McNutt in the game as well. Some of these other receivers and tight ends, guys that are going to really try and show that they belong on the 53-man roster are in here. Second down and 3. Tannehill pointing some things out.
Watch the guys on the top. They're going to come. There they are.
Good protection. Ryan over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Gibson. Nice coverage on the play by Leonard Johnson in his second year out of Iowa State.
Dolphins are not able to hit this, but a nice job by the offensive line and the backs of picking up that blitz, Bob.
For sure. Everybody's picked up. Miller steps up. Get lots of time. Single coverage downfield. Somebody should have been open. You need somebody to get open when you got single coverage downfield with a blitz.
3rd and 3. You saw Samuda and Pouncey congratulating each other. Nice job, too, by Lamar Miller filling the hole on that one, getting a piece of the safety. Barron Tannehill under pressure. Doesn't have time this time, and he's going to go down. First time tonight, Ryan Tannehill is sacked. And Daquan Bowers, a guy they're really trying to get some more out of at defensive end, is the guy that takes him down. Brandon Fields going to come back out for Miami.
Well, he had time to throw it this time. Watch. Miller steps up, throw it. You got to get rid of it. There's a little clock in your head, and when that clock goes off, you got to get rid of it.
And Bob, what I really like about it, even though it was a sack on that play, is Lamar Miller doing a nice job of picking up blitzes twice.
Yes.
4th and long. Fields with the punt. Eric Page back to return it. Inside the 10-yard line. Page with a little seam. Page tripped up and taken down by R.J. Stanford at about the 25-yard line. A 61-yard punt off the foot of Brandon Fields. It's the Bucs 10 and the Dolphins 3. 8:27 to go in the first half. Bucs 10 and the Dolphins 3. 8:27 to go in the first half. Tonight's trivia challenge presented by your Dade Broward Hyundai dealers. It's the most radical image change for the Dolphins since Clipper did somersaults in the East End Zone at the old Orange Bowl. From a leaping to a now soaring Dolphin. Strong reaction about the logo change. It's not the first logo change in franchise history, not the first color change in Dolphin history. So do you know how many different official logos have represented the Miami Dolphins since 1966? Get a look at it. Midfield here at Sun Life Stadium. First down and 10 at the 26-yard line. Josh Freeman and the Tampa Bay offense. Their 2 scores tonight have come on short fields. Both of their scoring drives, the touchdown and the field goal, 23-play drives. That's because of turnovers in the punt return for Miami. Freeman trying to air it out, looking for Williams, incomplete. See Jimmy Wilson check into the game. He's playing some nickel back. Kind of been moved to safety, but we've seen Jimmy play in the slot defensively a decent amount the last couple of years, and they're giving him a shot here.
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, it's been in a negative. We've called his name in a negative vein because he's had a couple of penalties. One of them for unsportsmanlike conduct, hitting somebody out of bounds, and then the last week I think it was he was mouthing off to an official. Not good.
Ace defense still in there. Barely got that playoff. Handoff to Leonard coming left side. Koamisi takes him high, but only after Phillip Wheeler had him wrapped up low. Gain of 3 on the play. Brian Leonard kind of returning there. Good to see Wheeler, Ellerby, some of the top defensive guys for the Dolphins still out on the field. 8 minutes to go here in the second quarter. We expect a lot of these guys to come out and start the second half tonight.
Yeah, this is, as you said in the opening, the dress rehearsal. This is where these guys start to get in shape for the opening of the season, because when the season starts, they're going to play all 4 quarters.
3rd down and 7. Bucs have struggled on 3rd down. They've done better punting than on 3rd down tonight because of the Dolphin turnovers. Again, play clock running down. Vernon supplying pressure. Obi takes him down. Olivier Vernon did not quit on the play, and he's able to sack Josh Freeman. Second time tonight, Miami has gotten to the Tampa quarterback.
Here's another look. Vernon working against the left tackle. Donald Penn just runs around him and then has the quickness and the speed to get back inside and get Josh Freeman as he tries to scramble up. Doesn't give up on the play as Penn tried to cut him.
Yeah, Vernon's a little undersized defensive end. He's not as tall as some of them, but he's a lot quicker.
Big Penn back to return the punt. Twice tonight, Dolphins have turned the ball over in these situations. From the 20. The 35. Thigpen with some room near midfield. Marcus Thigpen into Tampa territory and down to the 42-yard line. A 56-yard punt with a big return before Thigpen finally brought down by Gator. Give him 38 yards.
And tell me what's the difference on this play, guys. This time, Nolan Carroll gets the block. I mean, they've tried to pin him on that left sideline each and every time. This time, Carroll gets the block, and that springs Marcus Thigpen. Here's another look at it. Just that little block that gives him time to catch the football, turn upfield. That's the way you make up for putting the ball on the ground.
Right. That's what he can do. That's the good Thigpen, not the bad.
Down a touchdown. Dolphins will spread it out 5 wide. Again, they're looking for Clay, and that one is nearly intercepted. It's incomplete, but Mason Foster was right there. Tannehill and Clay a couple of times now have just missed one another.
Well, they're just not on the same page. There's no separation. You've got to run that guy off and snap it off and get some separation, give the quarterback somewhere to throw the football.
Yeah, the route running of Charles Clay is not what Dustin Keller. Dustin Keller was a better route runner.
Here you get a look at Clay in the backfield. They'll fake the handoff to Thomas, who picks up the blitz over the middle. Caught. Brandon Gibson picks up 11 yards and a first down. And he's all fired up as the Dolphins continue to move towards the Tampa end zone.
Guys, I love the job that Jeff Nixon has done with these running backs. This time you see Daniel Thomas comes over, picks up the blitzer, gives Tannehill time to throw the football, and Gibson makes a great catch.
1st and 10, Dolphins pick the pace up again. Daniel Thomas again, a little stretch to the left, tries to cut back to the middle of the field, is taken down there. Foster's been all over the place tonight. He brings him down. Not much doing on first down there for Daniel Thomas.
I mean, how often do you talk about running backs picking up blitzers versus talking about running with the football?
Yeah, well, and that's part of the package of being a running back.
It's funny, though, you talk to coaches about running backs, and they usually bring that up and ball security before they ever bring up speed or any of the things I think we traditionally associate with playing running back. You have to be able to pass protect, because if not, they can't trust you out on the field. Spread it out again on 2nd and 9. Pass is caught by Gibson again. He's got to wiggling his way to about the 21-yard line. He picks up the first down before David finally takes him. 10 yards to Brandon Gibson, who showed some nice run-after-catch ability.
And don't forget that Brandon Gibson is learning himself on the job, because he's not used to being in the slot. He's used to being outside.
He has been used almost exclusively in the slot by the Dolphins. Last year with St. Louis, I think he lined up in the slot 12 total plays the entire season. So it's absolutely something new, but he seems to be trying to make the most of it. 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. They'll go back to Daniel Thomas, picking up a head of steam, and he runs into his own man, picks up 2-3 yards on the play. Hartline was there blocking for him, and Mason Foster, again, in on the tackle for Tampa Bay.
That time you saw Pouncey, the center, snap the ball and lead the runner around the end. Number 51, Pouncey, getting involved. Yeah, he should have just taken it up there on that.
Yeah, he's got to turn that up.
Get what you can get.
And give him 2 yards on the play now. 2nd down and 8 for Miami. Tannehill fires to Wallace, who makes the catch on his knees at about the 7-yard line. That's another first down. And for the 2nd time tonight, the Dolphins will be set up 1st and goal, this time thanks to a 12-yard catch and throw from Tannehill to Wallace.
Another route, ball's thrown down, low and away. Wallace slips, he goes down, catches the football. Most important thing, catch the football.
Dolphins go with a little bit of a jumbo look here on 1st and goal. Tannehill 11 of 18 for 98 yards. Wallace 3 catches and has 32 of those yards. 1st and goal from the 6, and nothing doing in the backfield. Nice job defensively by Tampa Bay, wrapping up Daniel Thomas. Akeem Spence there again.
Yeah, Pouncey gets beat. Pouncey gets beat to center for the Dolphins, big time.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if he did the same thing on that play, Bob. Yes, he did. He lines up over the center, caddy corner, and then he just hops around it. It looks like he's going to go through you, then he goes to the left, gets in that gap.
almost as if somebody told him what play was coming.
Or maybe he was expecting some help from the right guard. You never know.
Spencer Rookie, 4th-round pick this year. 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. Dolphins were down here again as the play clock is running down. Tannehill just gets it off. He'll throw. And it's caught by Clay at about the 5-yard line. He's ridden out of bounds by Barron. Picks up 5 yards. 3rd and goal coming for the Dolphins. They were down here on their first possession. Ended up having to settle for a 22-yard field goal.
Well, this is where you get that good work. You want to get the ball in the end zone. This is Clay's first catch of the year, preseason, if I'm not mistaken, guys.
Yeah. They tried to get it to him a few times. Had an 11-yard touchdown from Tannehill last year against Tampa Bay in the preseason. First professional TD for Ryan Tannehill was to Charles Clay. 3rd down and goal at the 5-yard line. 9th play of the drive coming for the Dolphins. It was set up on a nice punt return from Marcus Thigpen. 3rd and goal, end zone dropped. Gibson had his opportunity, couldn't squeeze it, and it'll be 4th down for the Dolphins. Kick unit coming out onto the field.
Well, I'm not sure, but it looked like this ball's just a little bit behind, but a catch that Gibson's got to make. You know, every ball is not going to be a perfect throw, and you've got to bail your quarterback out as he's trying to throw around a lot of folks there. You know, that should be a touchdown.
There's a lot of good coverage there. You could hardly see Gibson from behind where the quarterback was seeing it. And I think Gibson was a little bit surprised to see the ball coming in there, because if we couldn't see him because of the linebacker, he probably couldn't see Tannehill.
23-yard field goal from Sturgis is up and good, and so twice tonight Miami has gotten it close but not all the way in, and Caleb Sturgis comes out to add 3 more points. Tampa 10, Miami 6. You can see Brandon Gibson a little bit frustrated over not pulling that one in.
Well, he made a couple great catches during that drive to get him down there. He'd like to have the touchdown, and he'll be the first one to tell you he's got to make that catch. When you get down here inside the 10-yard line, you got a chance to catch a touchdown. You got to come down with it. I mean, there's a lot of bodies that the quarterback's trying to throw around. He can't always get you the perfect pass, so, you know.
Gibson in 4 years with the St. Louis Rams had 174 receptions and 9 touchdowns. So that was in the first 4 years in the league. So he's caught a lot of balls and caught some touchdowns.
Probably had the best game of his life last year here against the Dolphins. Remind you, we're using the hashtag on Twitter tonight, FinsChat, if you want to join the conversation. Gibson, last October, here at Sun Life Stadium, 7 catches, 91 yards against the Dolphins, including maybe the best catch we saw all season on the far sideline. Just hauled one in with one hand. Really nice job, and got to figure everybody remembered that when free agency rolled around, part of the equation. And Gibson, aside from that play, he's going to be a big part of the offense this
without
year.
a doubt. This is just him trying to get on the same page with the quarterback, Tannehill. You know, as we look at this cover team, there's all linebackers out there. That's a position that, you know, they're fighting for that 2nd and 3rd position. So you got a lot of linebackers down. And this is how they make this football team on special teams.
2:18 to go in the second. On the touchback, you get a look at the starting offensive line and offensive line coach Jim Turner, the former Marine, right in the middle of it all. You know our friend Troy Stratford, the former Dolphin running back? Jim Turner, the offensive line coach, was Troy's fullback at Boston College. And now, here you go, full circle. Turner now a member of this Dolphins coaching staff.
And, you know, he did yeoman's work with the offensive line last year and whipped them into shape. And, you know, hopefully that's going to happen again this year, as some guys are late getting in there with, you know, John Jerry just getting his opportunity.
Yeah, we saw him a little bit at the beginning of this one. Samuda has gotten the bulk of the work done. And you imagine we see Lance Lewis at some point as well. James on first down out of the backfield. He's taken down by Ellerby. Wheeler helping out there as well. 3 yards on the play. 2nd down coming for the Buccaneers. That's the 2-minute warning here in Miami. 2nd down coming for Tampa Bay. They lead the Dolphins 10-6. You get a look at the Miami sideline. 2 minutes to go here in the opening half. Cam Wake and Paul Soliai talking things over from the sideline. Dolphins trailing the Buccaneers 10-6 here at the 2-minute warning in the first half. Miami with a pair of Caleb Sturgis field goals from 22 and 23 yards out. Tampa Bay, a touchdown and a long field goal from Ryan Lindell. Both of those scores set up by Dolphin turnovers.
Yeah, special teams has not been as productive as it was last week. This week, shoes on the other foot.
Second down and 7 out of the 2-minute warning. They're coming near side, and it is caught by Mike Williams. He stays in bounds and gets all the way out to about the 43-yard line before Rashad Jones finally rides him down. 20 yards on the play as Josh Freeman in Tampa Bay with the full complement of 3 timeouts try and move down the field here. 1:53 to go, and the clock has stopped.
More and more teams are throwing that back shoulder throw. They're just letting the corner run with the wide receiver and then throwing it to his back shoulder.
What do you mean by back shoulder, Nat?
That means that as the receiver's running down the field, you're going to throw it behind him and let him turn around and catch the football.
He's covered. Going long, he's covered.
Yes.
But if he's looking back at you, and if you throw it short, he sees it.
First and 10 from the 41-yard line. That one incomplete. Looked like he was trying to find Kevin Ogletree in the middle of the field, but it was not near him. And so second down coming. 1:49 to go in the half. Dolphins have gotten to Josh Freeman a couple of times tonight. Sacks from Jared Odrick and Olivier Vernon. Dolphins have shown a couple of different looks up front defensively. Derek Shelby in now, guy who made this team last year as an undrafted rookie. And kind of a 3-down lineman look in this situation. Wheeler and Ellerby in at linebacker. Miami trying some things out here with the rain coming down. They'll bring 4. Vernon was standing up. Little flips for Ogletree, incomplete. And it's third down.
You know, I saw some film on Freeman from last week's game, and I've seen him here tonight. And he doesn't look real sharp. I was talking to Rondé Barber, who's doing the Tampa game back to Tampa TV. And he was saying the same thing. He hasn't been real sharp.
He had a huge year in 2010. I mean, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions back in 2010 for Josh Freeman, and he's never really fully gotten back to that. Had a nice year last year statistically, some key turnovers, threw for a lot of yards in a 7-9 season. Yeah. Freeman on 3rd and 10 avoids the pressure, steps up, going to keep it himself. Ellerby and Wheeler there to take him down as a flag comes in the secondary. He is shy of the first down. We'll get a look at what the call is here from Mike Carey.
Holding defense number 52 from the end of the run. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Philip Wheeler gets called for the penalty, and that's been a little bit of an issue tonight. Get a look at the longtime Buccaneer, Rondé Barber, calling the game for the Tampa Bay audience with Chris Myers.
Yep.
Miami native Chris Myers.
Right. Rondé is going to be working and calling NFL games this year. That guy was good. Cornerback.
Very good.
When he came in, when he was his best is when he played the nickelback. And you didn't know whether he was going to cover the guy or whether he was going to blitz. He's got a lot of interceptions, but he also has a lot of sacks. I think he's got more sacks than any defensive back in history.
It was supposed to be a screen. It slips out of the hands of Freeman, and the Dolphins might have it. There's a flag that may or may not be coming out of Mike Carey's pants, but the Dolphins recover the fumble, and it's Derek Shelby falling on the football.
Well, this is just all Josh Freeman. He's looking like he's trying to, I don't know what you call that, Grease. He tries to pull it back or something, you know?
Well, I think he was going to throw a little screen pass or just he's going to throw a little slip pass. Now he's going to try and the ball slips out of his hand.
Yeah.
33 career fumbles for Freeman. He's lost 10 of them. If you're thinking tuck rule, and I don't know that this would have applied, but if you are thinking tuck rule, they took it away finally this year, so that wouldn't have applied. This is definitely Dolphin football.
Trying to throw it to number 25 there, James.
So a nice little situation for the Dolphins. 1:29 to go. They're set up in Buccaneer territory, down 4. 3 timeouts left for Miami.
Can they capitalize on the turnover?
Play in the slot at the bottom of the screen. First and 10. Tannehill looking to get it out quickly. He's got McNutt, who's down to the 30-yard line. He went right up the seam and does a nice job picking up 18 yards.
Perfectly thrown football. Hits McNutt in stride.
They spot the ball just outside of the 30-yard line. First down and 10. Clock running with just over a minute to go. Dolphins with all their timeouts don't need to rush. Not yet. Wallace and Clay to the bottom of the screen. McNutt and Hartline up top. Tannehill looking for everything, in and out of the hands of Clay, and nearly intercepted. Ahmad Black, the safety, was there, and Charles Clay, not for the first time tonight, having some trouble making the catch.
Yeah, nice job by the linebacker, the safety, of getting his hand in there. But, you know, this is the kind of play where you can't wait for the ball to come to you. You've got to go to the football, especially if you're being trailed by a defender.
Should have caught that pass.
Yeah, this is a catchable ball.
Like you say, Nat, you stop, you come back, you jump into the defensive back, and you make sure you catch it.
Mark Barron in his second year out of Alabama was there as well. Tannehill finds Hartline. He's inside the 20-yard line, 14 yards on that play. Clock is moving, and the Dolphins take a timeout, I believe, with 42 seconds to go.
Nice route that time by Brian Hartline. We haven't called his name much tonight, but he works back outside. There you go, works back outside, gives the quarterback a target, and a great job that time by Ryan Tannehill of backing up and moving to his left to get a clear lane of throwing the football.
You don't need to look at the protection, you just need to feel it. And if you move around, good footwork in the pocket, slide around, get your vision downfield, and then get the ball there when it needs to be there.
Dolphin drives tonight have been long. They've taken time off the clock. They've picked up yards, but they have not, as of yet, resulted in touchdowns. A couple of field goals from Caleb Sturgis, a couple of punts, and we'll see what happens here as they got the good starting field position thanks to the Tampa Bay turnover.
Well, this is their third time inside the 20-yard line, and, you know, this is where they've struggled in the past. You know, you've got to start punching this football in, getting it into the end zone when you get down here.
First down and 10 at the 17-yard line. Hartline with a couple of catches tonight, had one in the previous couple preseason games. Tannehill's got a nice clean pocket. I think he was going for Clay again, but he overshoots him. And it'll be second down coming for Miami.
Let's go back and see if we can see exactly what Charles Clay is doing, because, you know, the quarterback is looking to work on him, and it's nothing decisive, Bob. He's just flowing into it. Ghoston has, I mean, that's an easy coverage for Ghoston. He shows him nothing to the outside before he breaks inside.
Tannehill was looking for him, and when he saw the route, just threw it away down the field.
Tannehill with a pretty productive night, still looking for that touchdown pass, or at least the handoff that results in a touchdown. From the 17-yard line, nice protection. He's got Hartline again over the middle, inside the 10. It'll be a couple of yards shy of the first down. Dolphins will take their second timeout with 34 seconds to go. Third down coming after an 8-yard pickup by Hartline.
And guys, a nice job by the offensive line of pushing all of the rush past the quarterback. You know, we've talked about the offensive line when they've struggled. Here's a much better job. They just push everybody by. Tannehill's able to step up and deliver the football.
Pouncey, number 51, helping Samuda, the right guard, and then just throwing the defensive lineman to the ground.
Mike Pouncey, one of the best centers in the National Football League right now. Not one of the best young centers, not one of the best in the AFC, just one of the best centers in the National Football League. You see Josh Samuda, he's in at right guard. He's played the majority of the night. Remember, the snap counts is what they're going on, and John Jerry, who started, he got a lot of snap counts because of that first drive, which was so long. Third down and 2 from inside the 10-yard line. They will complete it to Gibson. He's got the first down at the 4. And you got to figure the Dolphins will take their final timeout with under 30 seconds to go.
Well, they're going to run a play. That timeout is valuable. They're going to save it.
Yeah.
Clock continues to run. 18 seconds left. Tannehill all by himself back there on first down and goal. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. Brandon Gibson dropped one earlier. He doesn't miss this one. And the Dolphins take the lead and they cash in the red zone.
Well, nice little job of giving a little in and out. But, hey, Bob, what happens when you get a receiver that drops the football? What do? You go back to it.
Oh, yeah. Because he's going to catch the next one.
That's the chemistry you're looking for down there, where the quarterback and the receiver's on the same page. As soon as he makes that move in a tight coverage, the ball is there, he's able to catch the football. He's looking at him all the way.
Sturgis' extra point is good, and the Dolphins extend the lead 13-10 with just 10 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. First touchdown reception is a Dolphin for Brandon Gibson. He gets some kudos on the sideline. He's got to feel real extra good after the drop earlier. 10 seconds to go in the half. Joe Philbin going to give some instruction to Caleb Sturgis here, how they want to handle the kickoff situation. And you talk to football coaches, they love this kind of thing in the preseason. They can kind of discuss if they want to go with the squib kick or if they want to try and kick it out of the end zone, whatever it is they want to do here with 10 seconds to go.
Well, basically what you're looking to do is get some idea on special teams. Who are those guys that's on the bubble that's going to go down and get the job done for you? So, you know, all of this stuff is important as you start to get down to the final cut.
The Audi scoring drive, 8 plays, 47 yards in just a minute 17. Brandon Gibson with the touchdown reception to seal the deal. All of that set up, of course, by the Josh Freeman fumble. Ball slipped out of his hands, and it was recovered by Derek Shelby. With 10 seconds to go, Sturgis will kick it deep, and he'll go out of the end zone for a touchback. So Tampa Bay, they had 3 timeouts, but just 10 seconds. And I'll have the ball at the 20-yard line. And let's take a look at that touchdown.
Okay, here we go with Gibson. He's going to be right here. He's going to get open over the middle of the field. Go fakes to the outside, goes inside. That's what a good slot guy does, is have body control. He can fake to the outside and go in, or he can go start across the field. If he's covered, stop and come back the other way.
And that's the difference in Brandon Gibson's route versus Charles Clay. Charles Clay just rolled in there. That time you saw Gibson give him a little head shoulder outside and then slip back inside for the touchdown.
Everybody knows about the Buccaneers and kneel downs. They choose to run a play here, and that will be the final play of the first half. The Dolphins, thanks to the Brandon Gibson touchdown from Ryan Tannehill, take the lead. It's Miami 13 and Tampa Bay 10. We'll be back with the Xfinity halftime report, but first, CBS 4's Jim Barry chronicles the rocky road to the NFL for one young Dolphin, hoping to hang on and live the dream. Stay tuned. CBS 4 News is next.
Tonight's halftime show is sponsored by Xfinity, your home for most live sports. Tonight's telecast also sponsored in part by Hair Cuttery. The buy one, give one, share a haircut program is on now. By FPL. Change the current way you use energy and make your bill even lower. Learn how at fpl.com/pet project. And by Dade Broward Hyundai. Every Hyundai clearance priced. The clearance countdown is on at your Dade Broward Hyundai dealers.
Halftime here at Sun Life Stadium. That doesn't look too bad. Dolphins leading the Buccaneers 13-10. That doesn't look too bad either. Nice job by Miami, taking the lead late in the second quarter. Time, guys, for our Xfinity halftime highlights. And let's start with some of the negative before we get to some of the positive. Dolphins with a couple of issues on special teams, a couple of turnovers that led to points for Tampa Bay. Marcus Thigpen calls for the fair catch. Nolan Carroll blocked into him, and you get the recovery of the fumble by the Buccaneers. Next time out for Thigpen in the rain, he loses the handle. Tampa Bay again comes up with the football, and those 2 turnovers led to the 2 scores for the Bucs.
Yeah, but the defense it was able to answer, as you see there. Ellaby runs through, makes a tackle on James in the backfield. And then Paul Soliai just working hard, coming down the line of scrimmage as James cuts back. He's there to make the tackle for no gain. And then great pass rush. This is a nice job of having vision by Jared Aldridge and then making the tackle, and then Olivier Vernon coming around Penn, the left tackle, to make the sack.
Well, offensively, Ryan Tannehill getting connected with some of his new toys. Wallace there, and here again near the sideline to pick up a first down. Brandon Gibson was also active in the first half, catching that ball over the center, and then dropping one there. But I guarantee you he didn't see that ball coming.
I believe you, but then he comes back and does a nice job on a little fake out and come back in and catches the touchdown to put the Dolphins up 13-10 at halftime.
All right, halftime stats presented by Xfinity. You get a look, and just 63 total yards for Tampa Bay offensively. They've had the short field a couple of times, and again, that goes back to those turnovers.
Well, you look at, they just dominated the first half when it's 180 yards to 63 in total offense, but it's the 2 turnovers which Tampa Bay was able to score off of.
Dolphins have scored on 3 of their 5 possessions. They were supposed to have 2 other possessions, but they gave those up, losing the ball on the punt team.
Absolutely. All right, so it's going to be the start of the third quarter in just a couple of moments, and for the first time, guys, this preseason, we expect to see some of the starters come out and participate here early in the third.
Well, it's all about going in, making adjustments, and then coming out and executing. You know, this is what the coaches really want to see is, can they go in, make some adjustments against what Tampa's trying to do to them, and then come back in the second half and execute.
I guarantee you that Jeff Ireland and some of the coaches are really interested in some of the players that are going to be playing the second half. Some of the backups, some of the backup linebackers, some of the backup wide receivers. Who's going to make this team and who's not going to make this team? Do we go out? Do we need to pick some players from the other team? Do we need to make trades? All those questions are going to be part of the second half.
Absolutely. Those will be big questions for Joe Philbin to answer. Let's go down to the field. Kim Bokamper standing by with the head coach.
All right, Coach, offensively, you're able to move the ball, and then finally, late in the first half, you get a nice work in a 2-minute drill, and you're able to punch it in the end zone.
Yeah, you know, we had that long drive to start the game, Kim. Love, you know, we got to be able, when we get a first and goal inside the 10-yard line, punch it in and get a touchdown, but it was good to get that 2-minute drive. We haven't had one with the first group all preseason, and luckily we got it in the end zone.
Obviously, the frustration in the first half, turnovers on special teams, you never want that to happen.
Yeah, very frustrating. I mean, you know, we had a good week of preparation, special teams included, and disappointing that we would give the ball away twice.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second
half.
half.
All right, thank you.
All right, Coach Philbin, Dolphins leading this one by a score of 13-10. Let's go back up to the booth.
All right, Bo, thanks a lot. As we wrap up the Xfinity halftime report, Dolphins will be kicking it off to Tampa Bay. Miami leading 13-10. Caleb Sturgis, another opportunity to show off his leg.
And another opportunity to show you just how the Dolphins dominated. If you take away those 2 turnovers, they had the ball for 18 minutes in the first half.
Wow. Chris Denton back to receive the kick for Tampa Bay. He'll take it about 7 yards deep in the end zone and bring it out. Denton to the 15, spun around. Flag comes in. He goes down to the 20-yard line. R.J. Stanford with another tackle on special teams, 27-yard return. But we got to check the flag. Looks like it's going to get shortened a bit.
During the return, holding on the receiving team, number 81. Half the distance to the goal, they retain possession, first down.
Greg Schiano not going to be happy about that penalty, making new acquaintances with old friends on the sideline.
What did he do, shake hands with the official?
Were you the one that dropped that flag?
Yeah.
Schiano in his second year. You see the 7-9 record. Of the 9 losses, 7 were by 1 score or less. This was a team that played a lot of teams very tough last year, and they hope that they can take a big step forward. What do they have to get better at? Well, Josh Freeman, he's got to kind of continue to improve, and defensively have to improve against the pass. They were 32nd last year, and those kinds of numbers from Freeman, that's not going to get it done.
Second line defense in there for the Dolphins.
From the 7-yard line, Mike James tapped to the 15 and now the 20-yard line before Jonathan Freeney brings him down. 14 yards on first down from the rookie out of Miami.
Big hole as he starts up inside. Everybody gets blocked.
As I mentioned, the second defensive line and the second string of linebackers are in there.
You got Will Davis in at cornerback. Nolan Carroll at cornerback. Jimmy Wilson's back there at safety with Kelsey McCray. Antoine Applewhite playing right defensive end. They just signed him last week, and a good opportunity for some of these younger defenders to get some experience against some of the starters, as Applewhite in on the tackle there of James after 5 yards.
And guys, you know, as you see these big gaps in the defense, how many times now do you see where guys are so busy trying to make a play, they don't just take care of their job, and they're opening up and creating these big holes.
And defensively, that's what you want, is just take care of your responsibility. If you've got the inside gap, take care of the inside gap and let somebody else take care of the outside. Don't try to do more than your responsibility.
2nd down and 6 from the 25-yard line. They'll fake the handoff blitz coming. McCray gets there, and he takes Freeman down. 3rd sack of the night by the Dolphins. This time it comes from the secondary. Kelsey McCray, the safety, with the sack.
And when you look at this time Kelsey McCray takes the inside. Earlier, we had blitzers taking the outside.
Yeah.
And that allowed Freeman to step up and be able to get rid of the football. This time he takes James on it, but he takes the inside. And that allows him to be there to make the play.
That's a big play by McCray.
Second-year guy out of Arkansas State, got hurt early in training camp last year, missed the entire season. He's played more snaps and recorded more tackles than anybody else on the Dolphin defense throughout this preseason. 3rd down and 6 after the sack. Freeman coming near sideline, incomplete. Nice job by Will Davis with the coverage on Mike Williams, and Tampa Bay with a quick possession to open up the 3rd quarter.
Well, Will Davis has been a spark plug on the defense this year. And what you'd like for him to do, though, is do a better job of finding the football right there. You know, he's got good coverage, just was a little late getting his head around, Bob.
3rd-round draft pick this year, has done very well in camp.
He'll stay on the field and try and help out in this punt return situation. Thigpen standing back at the 30-yard line. Chaz Henry, a new punter, in for Tampa Bay, puts the right foot into it. Thigpen's got to run up. He's going to let it bounce, and he's going to field it back inside the 30-yard line. Thigpen trying to create some space. He can't. That's a nice tackle back behind the 35-yard line by Najee Good. And the Dolphins, with 12:47 to go in the 3rd quarter, will take over their first possession of the 3rd quarter, and it's going to be a new quarterback for Miami, up 13-10. Time to answer our trivia challenge presented by your Dade Broward Hyundai dealers. How many official logos have the Dolphins had since 1966? The answer, well, some of the changes more subtle, some more bold, but 5 different logos.
You know that, Matt?
1966
I knew that.
Oh,
and
sure.
2013.
I knew that because I was able to talk Bob Greasy, Dan Marino, and Jason Taylor to go on stage when we had this last logo change.
How great was that?
And really, it was great, but it was kind of embarrassing seeing Greasy up there in those pants.
I thought he looked great. You can join the discussion at #FinsChat on Twitter. Pat Devlin in the game for Miami. First team offensive line, and then a bunch of reserves for the Dolphins, including Jonas Gray, who falls forward to about the 45-yard line. About 10 yards there from Jonas Gray, who got off to a fast start this preseason. You see Pat Devlin in his 3rd year out of Delaware. Touchdown pass, 13 of 21 in a couple of games so far this preseason. Kind of an interesting situation here. We have not seen Matt Moore, who's sort of the second quarterback. Maybe they want to see what Devlin's got, Bob.
Well, Devlin didn't play last week, so I think they just want to get him some work just in case.
Devlin will fake the handoff. That one is tipped at the line of scrimmage. He was trying to get it to McNutt. Claiborne got his hands on it, incomplete. Ryan Tannehill's night, of course, is done. He finishes 10 of 17, 95 yards, with that touchdown pass to Brandon Gibson.
And the offense, the first team offense in that first half had 45 plays. So I think what Philbin figures is that, 45 plays, he got a lot of good stuff in. Let's let this kid get this. Devlin, they got to make a decision whether to keep 3 quarterbacks or not.
It's a big decision coming, and not every team does. Devlin, a little bit of a pistol look, hands to Gray. Does a nice job keeping the feet going, gets to the 45, picks up 2 yards. It'll be 3rd down coming for Miami.
That was actually a 5-yard run by Gray because he got hit in the backfield and he just drug a defender for a couple of yards. That's the strength that we've seen with Jonas Gray throughout the preseason.
Now he splits out all the way wide to the right on 3rd down and 8. Devlin with 3 receivers to the left side. It's Michael Egnew in the slot closest to the line. Gray, the running back, in motion. He'll join Devlin in the backfield. On 3rd down, Bucs will bring some pressure. Devlin stepping up, going to try and run for it. Devlin got the first down, and he's down to about the 45-yard line. Nice job by Pat Devlin. Barron eventually brought him down, but he gets 10 yards on 3rd and 8.
Yeah, there was an opportunity there for him to get rid of the ball. There was a chance to throw it downfield right there, and then he just pulls it down. I wouldn't be reaching around, sticking my arm out there. Those guys are going to eat it. You do that too many times.
Second team offensive line has come in now. You see Josh Samuda at center. Lance Lewis is at right guard as Gray gets spun down in the backfield. So the changes on offense coming maybe a little bit earlier than expected and earlier than normal in these preseason games. Of course, the Dolphins did have that extra game against Dallas up in Campton. Maybe that factors in.
Joe Philbin told us the other day that they would probably play into the third quarter. But I think the fact that they played, they had 45 plays. It's going to be interesting watching Samuda play at center, and then also Lance Lewis, a guard, number 61, that they picked up in the offseason.
That's the right side of the offensive line as the pass is complete to that guy, Brian Timms. We talked a lot about him today. Taken down by Michael Adams. Timms, a Fort Lauderdale native, went to Dillard, grew up in foster care here in South Florida, eventually got himself to Tallahassee Community College, walked on at FAMU on the Dolphin practice squad last year. He's had a nice little preseason.
Well, you'd like to see Timms, because they like this kid. You'd like to see him be able to break some of these tackles. I mean, the Dolphins was a team that struggled on yards after the catch. So that's what they're looking for, guys that can catch the football and then do something special with it.
3rd down and 9. He's going to go down in the backfield. Devlin is sacked. Trevor Scott, who's just signed this week, got him. A flag comes in, so we'll check that. But the protection breaking down there as Trevor Scott gets to Pat Devlin.
Illegal formation. Number 60 was not on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
That penalty on Jeff Adams over on the left side of the line.
That was a left tackle on the top of the screen. Number 60 right there. He's going to be off the line of scrimmage. Plus, he's going to allow the sack.
Now, that time, both the right tackle and the left tackle got beat inside.
Brandon Fields back out to punt for the Dolphins. Interesting to get a look at who comes out defensively for Miami after they got the offensive starters out of there. Chris Denton back to receive the punt for Tampa Bay. Dolphins leading 13-10 here in the 3rd quarter. Denton will call for the fair catch. He's going to let it go, and Brandon Fields does it again. Bounces out of bounds inside the 5-yard line, and a nice job by Brandon Fields pinning Tampa Bay back. Dolphins leading the Bucs 13-10. 9:37 to go in the 3rd.
You back to South Florida. Josh Freeman will continue to go from the booth with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers. They want to see more. Maybe Josh wants to play more.
I think they probably both want to play more. Have not seen a sustained drive by this offense yet. They scored the touchdown on the special teams fumble recovery. You get in this backed up situation, and you're really just trying to get out of this. Probably look for a direct run right here. Don't want a false start, though.
And you don't, penalty flags flew from every part of the neighborhood. Opelika,
Half the distance to the
Dade
goal.
County, Broward County, Miramar. And the good news is it doesn't hurt you too much yardage-wise.
You got two situations. Backed up is, when you're on the -4 yard line. Coming out is when you get past that. These backed up situations are really crucial for an offense, because if you don't get out of this backed up territory, plus 5 yard line, that if you have to punt, you have a compromised punting
opportunity. That's from Mike Williams, who checked back into the game, and incomplete.
You have a get back to what I was saying. You end up having a compromised putting depth. So look for shots, direct runs out of this formation or out of this situation. This is something that Coach Schiano practices a lot, these backed up situations, because they are so crucial. Because once you punt out of a backed up situation, there's a high probability the other team at least is in field goal range with 1 first down.
You saw Mike Sullivan, second-year offensive coordinator, had an interview with the Chicago Bears for their head coaching job before they went with Mark Trestman. Brian Leonard carries. And the meshing of, I think this is important for Greg Schiano and this team, this franchise, the meshing of Mike Sullivan and Josh Freeman is paramount to where, Freeman could go with this offense and the players he has around him.
Absolutely. Josh had the opportunity to, really kind of shine last year. He threw for 4,000 yards, set a touchdown record. But being under Mike Sullivan, this offense for 2 years in a row, I think is really important to recognize that he has to get better under his second year.
Freeman rolling in his own end zone, throws on the run, and an on-target throw to Kevin Ogletree. Did he have enough for the first down?
It was a really good throw here by Josh. Running to his left, sprinting out to his left.
And they're giving it, yes, they spotted it, so they just short of the 19, it is a first down. So this is what No, they want to talk about leadership, fire in the belly. This is where Freeman, I don't know how important body language is from a quarterback. Rhonda, you tell me. You've been in a locker room and on a field with guys like this.
It's absolutely important. Though you look at a guy like Eli, who has a lot of bad body language sometimes, got 2 Super Bowl championships.
But he can let the bad stuff roll off his back as a penalty flag comes down. And
I think that's one of the things that Josh does really well is let criticism roll off his back, and that's important for a guy at that position.
12 men on the field, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down, 5 yards to go.
You know, quarterback on a winning football team gets a lot of credit, but when there's any struggles, they're the first one that gets the blame. And Josh does probably better than anybody I've been around. Does a great job of not letting it affect the way he comes to work every day.
So his personality more Eli Manning than Peyton Manning, obviously.
I would say
the way he runs things.
If you're making Mannings as the
they have rings. I'm using them as the barometer.
Yes, you're using them as the barometer.
The royal family of quarterbacks. Yes. Freeman to throw after the penalty and high and incomplete. Mike Williams on a catchable football, even though it was high.
You know, Mike has such great hands. I expect him to catch anything in the area.
And he does too. He thinks if he gets his hands on it, he should be able to make the play.
Josh fakes his handoff. It's a great play fake. Tons of time to deliver this ball. And Mike gets a little separation. Ball hits his hands. He's got to catch it.
He's had 3 drops, Freeman has, in the game so far tonight. Number of reserves on the Dolphin defense as Brian Leonard works his way up near the 35, across the 30-yard line, to the 32. Looked like he was tap dancing there, but got the first down.
Nifty for a big guy, huh?
Whatever it takes.
Now, Brian Leonard showed me that he can run downhill. Also that he can put his foot in the ground and make guys miss. And we talked about it at the half. He only had 26 yards rushing. You can help your quarterback so much, Chris, by being able to establish a ground game. And I think this team knows that as the running game goes, so does the offense. You can't expect Josh to carry it by himself. He's not a quarterback that's going to throw the ball 50 times like Stafford does in Detroit. That's just not the mentality of this coordinator or the head coach.
And that was your comment on the national broadcast with New England, that when you say carry a team on your back, it's not there yet. There's only a few of those quarterbacks in the elite category anyway.
I think there's about 4 of them, maybe 5 of them in the entire league. You got to have balance on your offense.
But the prone to mistake comment you made, which I think is a fair one about Josh Freeman, we already saw one tonight, that he can eliminate. Those are things he can correct.
Well, those are the things that you expect a 25-year-old quarterback to do. And as he gets older and he gets more mature, and
he goes down. Miami's defense getting in for the sack. The 5th sack already, a 7-yard loss.
Just unblocked. See, tight end, I think that's by him. Late to react to Freeney. Miscommunication and pass protection there. And a big sack puts him in 3rd and almost impossible situation here.
Another tough preseason test for Freeman. The screen, and that goes nowhere. The Dolphins were ready, stopped short of the 25-yard line. And it'll be 4th down.
I think a lot of people in that situation feel like a screen is a give up down there. But you take a shot there, it's incomplete.
Well, you certainly don't want your quarterback getting hurt either. If Freeman's sitting back there in a passing situation that the Dolphin defense would be ready for after they got in on another sack.
It's a pretty typical play most offenses. Really third long situation.
Booting the ball back, and Thigpen stays in the game, watches it sail out of bounds. The frustration for Josh Freeman and the offense continues, whether it's a penalty, a drop pass, or lack of execution or progress. The Dolphins holding a 13-10 advantage after the 48-yard punt and no return. Here's Mike Sullivan with Josh Freeman. You're watching Buccaneers preseason football from Sun Life Stadium.
Looking to cheer on the Fins this year? Make sure to check out all of the options at Dolphins.com. Season tickets, single game tickets, and the all-new 3-pack Buy Direct and Save at Dolphins.com. The new and improved Air TD on the sidelines here at Sun Life Stadium. Just bouncing around, having a good time. What could be bad on a Saturday night in Miami? Dolphins with a 13-10 lead over the Buccaneers. Take over at the 34-yard line. That's the right hand of Josh Samuda. Played earlier at right guard. Now he's moved over to center. Pat Devlin continuing to lead the Dolphin offense here in the second half. You see Evan Rodriguez at fullback. He's been getting some work at tight end in practice lately after the injury to Dustin Keller. And this is the rookie, Mike Gillislee, out of the University of Florida, falling forward, picking up 7 yards on his first touch of the night. The special teams ace Adam Hayward brings him down.
Good blocking over that right side that cleared a path for Gillislee to cut back.
You know, you never have enough good running backs. Lamar Miller and Donald Thomas. We got Thigpen. We got Gillislee. We got Gray.
Second down and 2 after an 8-yard run. They'll fake the handoff to Gillislee this time. Thigpen coming near side. Caught by Timms. Did he hold on to it? Yes, Brian Timms with the catch at the 45-yard line, 11 yards, his second catch of the night.
This is just a nice out route. He pushes the defender off and then does a good job of laying out, catching the football, getting both hands underneath.
And the veteran Pouncey right there to congratulate the young kid.
So Adams, the left tackle, hobbled off that time after the play.
Yeah. First down and 10 at the Tampa Bay 45. Devlin calling it out for the Dolphin offense. Tim and Matthews are the 2 wide receivers, one split deep side. You see Deion Sims in there at tight end as Gillislee gets another carry. Picks up a couple of yards on the play. We'll give him 3. Second down coming. Akeem Spence, the rookie defensive tackle, making the stop for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, we've called Akeem's name and number quite a bit tonight. He's playing right over the center and just does a good job of getting penetration, getting into the backfield.
Second team All Big Ten last year at Illinois. Defensive line is stout for Tampa Bay. They're looking for pass rushers. They've got the safeties. They think they've got the corners, but they need some pressure like that on Devlin. He loses the football, and it is, I believe, recovered by Tampa Bay. It was Trevor Scott that made the hit. Nope, they're going to say second down. Gillislee fell on it for Miami, but Trevor Scott for the second time tonight making things uncomfortable for the Dolphins quarterback. And again, this is a guy that's only been here for a couple of days.
Yeah, I think the left tackle, McDonald, who just came in for Adams, missed an assignment.
Man, that thing was there for a while.
Yeah, that was a stop and go. That was a stop and go to the receiver on the outside. Devlin had to wait a little bit, just got ready to throw it, and then got clobbered.
Third down and 14 from just on the Tampa Bay side of the midfield stripe. Devlin with a little bit of a challenge here on 3rd and long. Under pressure, just tries to flip it out to Gillislee, and he gets inside the 45-yard line. Modest pickup before Jonathan Casillas takes him down, and it's that time of year where sometimes the quarterbacks late in these preseason games don't have as much time as maybe they're accustomed to getting.
Well, I think he had more time than he thought there that time, Bob. After you get sacked, you
get blindsided.
You're worried.
You get blindsided a couple times.
It's a 3-man rush, though.
Fourth punt of the night for Brandon Fields. A little bit of a high snap, but he's able to corral it. Page calls for the fair catch and will make the fair catch at the 7-yard line. 2:15 to go in the third quarter. Dolphins on top of the Buccaneers 13-10 as these two teams meet up once more in the preseason.
All right, welcome back to Sun Life Stadium. Dolphins leading the Tampa Bay Bucs 13-10 late in the third quarter. Time for another Going the Extra Mile player profile brought to you by the South Florida Honda dealers. This time we're going to take a look at number 85, Brian Timms, wide receiver. Second year out of Florida A&M. Practice squad last year. He attended Dillard High School. He's a Fort Lauderdale guy and really has had an interesting life. Struggling in OTAs, kind of digging himself out of that hole right now. Made 2 big catches tonight, and that could go a long way to earning him a spot on this roster. All they're looking for out of Timms, make some of those plays, and he has a very good chance to make this roster, fellas.
Yeah, they're looking for some consistency there, guys. And he's got great speed.
This is Peyton Hillis, the former Cleveland Brown, getting his first carry of the night. Got a new quarterback in for Tampa Bay. Here's Brian Timms. A couple of nice receptions earlier on tonight.
He's done a nice job tonight. Goes down and just a little turnout, gives the quarterback a target. Not able to do much after the catch, but this is just an outstanding route and catch here. I mean, this is what they want to see, more consistency. At times he's looked good, then he's put the ball on the ground. He's got to become a consistent player for the quarterbacks to trust him.
Rookie third-round pick Mike Glennon in at quarterback from NC State, trying to screen there, incomplete. It was intended for Danny Noble, the second-year tight end. Glennon came into the game last week in New England, 12 of 22, 121 yards, a couple touchdowns, and an interception. And you see his career at NC State, and Bobby's a big part of the reason why Russell Wilson, now the Seahawks quarterback, ended up at Wisconsin.
Yes, he is, because Russell Wilson wanted to play baseball in the spring one more year, and the coach says, no, we need you to. We've got a good quarterback. We've got to move on to him. If you don't want to play, we've got to move on. And Glennon was that quarterback.
3rd down and 7. Hillis is in the game. Last week he carried 18 times for 73 yards. Remember that one great year he had in Cleveland. Glennon going to try to go down the middle. Dangerous pass, incomplete. Jimmy Wilson was in the vicinity, and he was probably closer to the ball than the intended receiver, Kevin Ogletree. Quick 3 and out for Glennon and Greg Schiano's offense.
Dolphins did a nice job of breaking that pocket down, getting pressure down around Glennon's legs, not able to step into the throw.
Jimmy Wilson has seen time tonight in the slot, playing corner. Also back there at safety. Chad Bumphis, the rookie, back to return the punt for Miami. First time we've seen him tonight.
Earlier in the preseason, Chad Bumphis was the star receiver. 6 or 7 catches, and just haven't seen him much here the last 2 ball games.
Chaz Henry's punt will be fielded by Bumpus at the 45. Goes backwards. That's not usually a good idea in the NFL. He loses a couple of yards before Cody Grimm takes him down. And with 1:21 to go in the 3rd quarter, we'll step aside. Dolphins still leading Tampa Bay 13-10. Pat Devlin and the Dolphin offense coming back out on the field. Pat Devlin back out. He's played the entire 3rd quarter so far for Miami. He's in the shotgun. Jonas Gray back there. Seeing some Brian Timms at wide receiver, some Rashard Matthews. We just saw Chad Bumphis return the punt. Nat, a lot of these wide receivers here, you put Marvin McNutt into that conversation, really battling now as they try and make this team in the final days before that first round of cuts.
Yeah, we don't know if the Dolphins are going to keep 4, 5, or 6 wide receivers, and you got Marvin McNutt, Rashard Matthews, who was a part of this team last year, who some people feel he's got the best hands of all of the receivers, as well as Brian Timms. So Brian Timms is making a statement here tonight. That's his, 3rd catch of the night?
Yeah, nice job by Timms. It wasn't a perfectly thrown ball. 3 catches, 26 yards now.
Dolphins going no huddle.
1st down and 10. Jonas Gray lined up and knocked down in the backfield. Nice job by Adam Hayward, who's been all over the place for Tampa Bay. Timms, we mentioned, grew up in foster care here in the Fort Lauderdale area, and his foster parents will join Kim on the sidelines coming up in the 4th quarter. 17 seconds to go here in the 3rd. Dolphins don't have to run another play if they don't want to. Devlin, though, has it lined up on 2nd down and 11. Devlin looking left, going left, and McNutt had it, lost it, and Matthews is Johnny on the spot. Nice job by Rashard Matthews. They'll call it incomplete, though. McNutt did not have possession, did not make that football move, and that is the final play of quarter number 3. Dolphins on top of the Buccaneers 13-10 after a scoreless 3rd quarter here in Miami.
Preseason football in high definition on CBS 4 is sponsored in part by South Florida Cadillac Dealers, by Boost Mobile, by FPL. Change the current way you use energy and make your bill even lower. Learn how at FPL.com/pet project. And by your South Florida Honda dealers.
Start of the 4th quarter here at Sun Life Stadium. Miami leading Tampa Bay 13-10. Look at displaying the club level here at Sun Life Stadium, honoring that 1972 undefeated team. Thought we might see a challenge to open up the quarter. Joe Philbin, though, has decided to let it roll on 3rd down and 11. Marvin McNutt maybe caught a pass that was fumbled and recovered by Rashard Matthews, and that time a great catch up the seam for Miami. It's good enough for a first down. Nicely done for 18 yards by Deion Sims, the rookie tight end out of Michigan State.
That was a nice catch there. Had to turn back, catch, fight for it. Good catch.
Just the third catch of the preseason for Deion Sims. Here's Jonas Gray, who found the end zone a couple of times early in the preseason. He's taken down by Hayward at the 30-yard line.
Now, you're talking about wide receivers. You got Wallace, you got Gibson, and you got Hartline. I think the fourth guy, without question, is Rashard Matthews.
Well, I think his experience helps him, but, you know, with the injury to Dustin Keller, you don't know if they're going to keep an extra receiver versus more tight ends, because what you want is someone that can get down the middle of the field and make some plays.
Second and 10, they go to the seam again, and McNutt, as a flag comes in, nearly made the one-handed catch. He's had a couple of those in the preseason and in training camp. Nearly comes up with that one, but a couple of flags, probably on Tampa in the secondary.
Before the pass, holding, defense number 26. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic. First down.
All right, so that'll be a first down for Miami. Let's head to the sidelines. Kim Bokamper standing by with a couple of special guests. Bo?
That's right. I'm with Peter and Benita Pender, and they are the foster parents of wide receiver Brian Timms. And guys, I tell you what, it's got to be pretty exciting watching 3 catches tonight, so you've got to be pretty proud of that.
Yes, very proud. I mean, I'm just elated about how well he's doing out here today.
All right, you watch him out there, you get a little nervous?
A little. I get like, please don't get hurt.
You got Brian when he was 12 years old. What kind of kid was Brian like when you first met him?
He was just looking for an opportunity to be in a safe environment and have good surroundings. He just wanted a chance in life. So, you know, he got that opportunity, and now he's excelling at it.
Benita, did you ever think when you first met him that you'd be watching him out here on an NFL football field?
Never. But I'm so happy to see him here.
You look at his life, and he's been through a rocky road here, and to see him continue to work and continue to hone his craft and be here, it's got to be a testament to just how tough of a kid he is.
Yes, it is. He's very disciplined. That's what got him where he's at today, because he practiced on his own, and he does everything he's required to do. So that got him a long way, his discipline.
Grew up in Fort Lauderdale. You lived in Pembroke Pines, went to Dillard High School, and to be here playing with the Miami Dolphins, that's a pretty unique situation, isn't it?
And it's at home, too. It's beautiful to have him here. So we enjoy, we can see his games, more of his games. We get to support him more.
All right, so hopefully you make this football team. How many games will you be at?
I'm going to be at all of them. You know, he started playing football. He only played 3 years of football. He really played basketball most of his career. You know, at Dillard High School, that's all he played. This last year he played football his senior year, and he made honorable mention of Broward County. So he did well. He played 2 years of college, and that was it. Now he's in the NFL. So you can't ask for anything better. That's a great picture.
No, you can't. We certainly wish him the best, and you guys have done a fabulous job.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, back up to you guys. Quite a story.
Thanks a lot, Bo. Very, very special stuff there, and some great people to help Brian Timms get to this point. Joe Philbin needs a timeout. He ran about 30 yards to get to the official on the sideline, and when we come back, it'll be 3rd down and 5 at the 10-yard line for Brian Timms, Pat Devlin, and the Dolphin offense. Miami leading 13-10 in the 4th. Dolphins on top of the Buccaneers 13-10 with 13:20 left in quarter number 4. Dolphins finally back at home tonight after the first 3 preseason games on the road. Tonight's game menu brought to you by your Dade Broward Hyundai dealers. Spotlights the matchups you'll see right here at Sun Life Stadium this season. You got that Halloween night against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bunch of games right here on CBS 4. 3rd and 5 from the 10. Devlin has it thrown right back in his face, and so 4th down coming for Miami. Nice job by Daquan Bowers, young guy who is still out there in the 4th quarter for Tampa Bay. They really are trying to get him going.
Well, I don't think they've been happy with his performance up until this point. You know, he's a guy that came in out of Clemson, very highly touted, but never lived up to the billing.
And a guy that's made a couple of plays tonight, Trevor Scott, was brought in this week to try and get him pushed in that right direction. 28-yard field goal attempt from Caleb Sturgis is up and in. Sturgis continues to be perfect in the preseason. Miami extends the lead. It's the Dolphins 16 and the Buccaneers 10 early in quarter 4. Attention all fans heading out to Sun Life Stadium this season for safety and security reasons. The NFL has changed its bag policy for this season. This is the type of bag that is now approved. Go to NFL.com/all-clear for all the details before your next Dolphin game. Look at that. They got the airplane flying around before the game tonight telling everybody tailgating. NFL.com/all-clear. Those guys got in no problem.
Hey, what guys will do to get some attention.
Having a good time on a Saturday night at Sun Life Stadium. Eric Page will take a knee. Tampa Bay's offense comes out and will begin at the 20-yard line. We mentioned first time, long time we've been here at Sun Life Stadium, but to start the regular season, 3 out of the first 4 games will be away from home for the Miami Dolphins, including back-to-back road tests against Cleveland and Indianapolis right out of the chute. They come home for the Falcons, and then they got to go to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome for Monday Night Football against the Saints.
Well, and of course the new plastic, or should I say clear bags policy is in effect all year long, whether you're home or away.
Glennon looking near side, and that one is caught by Danny Noble, the tight end.
And that, the clear bag is a security thing, right?
Yeah, it's a security thing. The NFL has always been at the forefront of thinking ahead of schedule and taking care of our fans.
19 yards from Glennon to Noble. You talk about the start of that regular season, guys, and that ain't easy.
Well, you know, if my name is Brent Grimes or if Tyson Clabo, I can't wait to play Atlanta on the 22nd of September. You know, it's a chance to play against the team that you played for and came to Miami. So, you know, here's your chance. I mean, I think every player, when they get released or they go somewhere else, they look for that opportunity to show the team that they were with that they should have tried everything to hang on to them. So that should be fireworks.
A.J. Francis, Jelani Jenkins combining on that tackle of Peyton Hillis. Jenkins had a huge game last week. One of those guys going to make things hard on the decision makers, you figure, when it comes down to cutting the roster. Dolphins currently with 84 players on the roster. They need to be to 75 by 4 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon. That one incomplete, intended for Chris Denton.
Taylor, cornerback, I think it was Taylor. Was it 29?
Will Davis.
It was Davis. Came up limping.
Let's go back and see if we can see what happened on the, like he's limping before the play, Bob.
Yeah.
You hope it's just a muscle thing, cramp, you know, something along those lines. Will Davis, a bright young rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Utah State. 3rd down and 9. Dolphins trying to get some pressure on Glennon. You got a flag coming in as the ball is dropped. Jelani Jenkins with some tight coverage on Tim Wright. You got to imagine there was some holding taking place up front for Tampa.
Well, this young defensive line realize how difficult it will be to make this team, and so they are auditioning, as I said earlier in the
offense number 66 is declined 4th down.
As I said earlier in the preseason, for 31 other teams. I mean, you know, this Tampa Bay team is a team that need pass rushers. And here's a chance where if they play well and they get released, Tampa will be one of the teams that will look at it.
Well, it's like Richard Marshall. You were talking about teams being let go or going to other teams. Richard Marshall was picked up by San Diego. San Diego, we play this year.
Chaz Henry getting ready to punt. Marcus Thigpen back to return. Kind of been an up and down night for Thigpen. A couple of fumbles, one of them not really on him. Going to have to run up to field this one, and he will do so out of bounds. And so the Dolphins will start things off just outside of their own 20-yard line. 11:41 to go here in the 4th quarter. Miami taking over, up 16-10 on Tampa Bay. Pat Devlin, Mike Gillislee, and the rest of his Dolphin offense back out there. Got a false start penalty on Chris Barker, the young guard out there from Miami. So 1st and 10 will turn into 1st down and 15. Penalties definitely part of the storyline the last couple of weeks for the Dolphins, and not just, you know, late in the game.
Well, usually what happens when you play a better defense, you start to try and take shortcuts. Last week against Houston, you saw a lot more penalties. I mean, and it looked like the officials just decided to call it a little closer.
Fuller and Pruitt in the game at wide receiver, both split to the left. Devlin underneath, one-handed reception not made by Jaworski Lane. Second-year fullback, second year in the NFL, and he had some trouble hauling that one in. He had a little bit of space if he was able to catch it.
Yeah, this ball is behind him all the way, and you know, that time Devlin was getting a little pressure. They had a little blitz up the middle.
You haven't heard a lot of Jaworski Lane this preseason. I don't know if that is good for him or not good for him.
Great story. He played for Mike Sherman at Texas A&M, was a big halfback, out of football, was moving furniture, played some indoor football, reappeared with the Dolphins last year, had a decent season at fullback. Incomplete to Gillislee there from Devlin, but it's not easy to get in this league, and it's not easy to stay in this league either.
Well, every year there's someone trying to do what you did and replace you. So, you know, you've got to bring it each and every week. That was an outstanding play that time, even though he didn't complete the ball, by Devlin, of avoiding a sack and being able to get the ball out for no gain.
Third down and long, 4 receivers for Pat Devlin here. Miami spreads it out, and Tampa just backing all the way up towards the first down marker. They look more than willing to give something up underneath. Devlin will go underneath. It's caught by Gillislee, and at the 25, he gets away from one, but not the other. And he's taken down by Keith Tandy to safety, so a quick 3 and out for the Dolphins. Miami will be punting once again, up 16-10.
You know, one of the things that I can guarantee Coach Turner is going to harp on is they come with a 3-man rush with 5 blocking you, and you're still able to hit the quarterback as he's releasing the football.
Right. Yep.
Brandon Fields has stayed busy this preseason as a flag comes in. Chris Denton back to return the punt. Got a little bit of space if he wants it from the 19. Chris Denton showing some speed, and he's wrapped up and dropped down by Lee Robinson. Nice job by Lee Robinson, who's had a nice little game for himself. 54-yard punt, returned 10 yards. And Robinson, who had a sack earlier in the preseason, comes up with a big special teams tackle. It appears somebody is hurt for the Dolphins back down at the 20-yard line.
I think that's Don Jones, number 36. That's a little slow in getting up.
7th-round pick this year out of Arkansas
Offside.
State.
Defense number 53 is declined. First down.
Now let's head down to Kim Bokamper on the sidelines. Bo?
All right, guys, well, there are a lot of people that make up this Dolphin organization and get this football team on the field. One of them is athletic trainer Kevin O'Neill. He has been the trainer with the Miami Dolphins since way back in 1996. Well, he was just awarded the Tim Caron Award for Excellence in Athletic Training, presented by the National Athletic Trainers Association for outstanding service, integrity, and dedication. Now, in 2006, Kevin's entire staff was given the award as the Training Staff of the Year by the same organization. Now, those of you that have been football fans down here in South Florida for a long time will remember Kevin O'Neill began his career down here with the University of Miami. He went to the Dallas Cowboys with then head coach Jimmy Johnson. So a long history down here in South Florida for Kevin O'Neill. He's done a fabulous job with the Miami Dolphins over the years, keeping the players healthy and getting them back on the field.
Good stuff, Bo. Thanks a lot, and congratulations to the man they call KO. Nice completion there from Glennon as he finds his target, Tim Wright, the rookie tight end. He's knocked down eventually by the rookie safety, Keelan Johnson. You saw Will Davis getting taped up by Kevin O'Neill on the sidelines there, and didn't appear to be anything too serious, which is good news for the rookie.
Well, you know, Bo talks about KO like he's been around a long time, but he continues to look younger. I mean,
we call that the Nat Moore effect.
I wish. Hey,
trying to throw you
the best.
First and 10 from the 43. Glennon hands it on. This is Peyton Hillis getting out to midfield, and Peyton Hillis picking up a first down, approaching the 45-yard line. Jelani Jenkins with the eventual tackle for Miami, 11 yards.
Well, sometimes it pays to be a running back and don't have great speed because you're slow enough to get back into the hole oftentimes. That time, you know, when you got guys with speed, they hit it and they can't get back. Peyton Hillis is a very patient runner that has had some success here in the NFL.
That 2010 season was huge for him. Over 1,100 yards, 11 rushing touchdowns. Started his career in Denver, kind of came onto the scene in Cleveland and sort of meandered ever since, never really returning to form from that season. Nice coverage there by the rookie Jamar Taylor as they were looking for Chris Denton.
That was always one of Larry Zonka's assets, not hitting the hole too quickly. You know, I'd turn around and he'd almost be just getting out of his stance. I'd hand him the ball, and he'd give plenty of time for Larry Little and Langer and Kuchenberg to do their thing up front there.
Big, powerful back, Peyton Hillis. He's on the cover of Madden that one year. Glennon hit as he throws, and the ball falls harmlessly inside the 40-yard line. Nat, I know you remember when he was on the cover of Madden a few years ago.
You're talking about
the video game.
You know, I don't play video games. You know, I mean, there's a lot of things I'm good at. Video is not one. Matter of fact, if I'm having a technical difficulty with my phone, I talk to my grandkids.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
3rd down and 10 for Mike Glennon. He's in the shotgun. Tampa Bay with the ball at the Miami 47-yard line. Dolphins have been in control as you get the sack. Nicely done up the middle by Josh Cadeau. 2nd round out of the University of Oregon. 8-yard loss on the play. And on 3rd and long, he pinned his ears back, and Josh Cadeau comes up with his first sack of the preseason.
One of the strengths is Josh Cadeau. Coming out of college at Oregon, he was always a good blitzer. And there you see a linebacker blitzing right up the middle.
5th sack of the night by the Dolphins. Odrick and Vernon got it started early. McCray with a safety blitz. And now later in the game, Freeney and Cadeau. Former teammate, of course, Deion Jordan at the University of Oregon. Henry puts the right foot into it. Thigpen back for Miami, and he will let it bounce and watch it go out of bounds. So the Dolphins will take back over at about the 20-yard line. Miami leading 16-10 with 8:55 to go in the 4th quarter. Welcome back inside Sun Life Stadium. Dolphins with a 16-10 lead on the Buccaneers. Just under 9 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Time to update our Chrysler keys, and let's start with Bob and the tight ends. And obviously a lot of questions coming into this one with the injury to Dustin Keller this week. What have we seen tonight from Charles Clay and company?
Well, we were hoping that we would see something out of Charles Clay, and what we've seen has not been good. He did not get open on a few occasions. When the quarterback wanted to go to him, he dropped a couple balls that he could have caught. Not a good night receiving for Charles Clay.
No, definitely not. 1st down and 10 for Devlin and the Dolphins from the 20. Has the ball tipped, caught though by Jeff Fuller, and he's spun down shy of the 25-yard line. Nat, your Chrysler key was the offensive line.
Well, the offensive line came out early. They had a long drive that took up 8 minutes off the clock. You know, John Jerry was the key. He came in, he got beat a couple times. You could see some rust, but the fact that he was in there gave them some continuity. I look forward to him getting a lot of work next week and getting ready for the regular season. You know, I thought in the end they did a nice job moving the ball up and down the field, just not able to get it into the end zone when they got inside the 20-yard line.
They'll flip this one to Rodriguez, the fullback slash tight end. He is upended there, but he gets the 1st down. Marcus White with the tackle. Nice job by Devlin of finding the open man. Flag comes in. It's been another thing that we've talked about a lot tonight as Mike Carey discusses this one with his crew.
Tripping defense on the tackle, number 21. From the end of the run, 10-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Michael Adams, the veteran cornerback, called there.
You know, growing up as a kid, they always told me, get him on the ground any way you can.
Tripping?
And now you got a guy in open field, and he fakes you out of your jog, and you trip him, and it's a penalty.
Well, at least he didn't score a touchdown. Only gives you 10 yards. The penalty is 10 yards, so get him down any way you can.
Any way you can. That's the way I learned to play football.
We say tripped up regularly. It doesn't usually mean the guy was literally tripped up.
Right.
That was the case there with Rodriguez. Get a look at Pat Devlin. We've not seen Matt Moore tonight. Devlin came in to start the 3rd quarter after Ryan Tannehill played the entire 1st half. Hands off here to Jonas Gray. Gets a little something.
Probably see a lot of Devlin next week. And I think because of earlier in the year, in the preseason, when Devlin was injured, had an ankle, I believe it was, Nat.
Yep.
I think they wanted to play him more then. I think I think they like Pat Devlin. They just want to see more from him.
Plus, they already know what they've got in Matt Moore.
Right.
I mean, Matt has gotten the most snaps of any quarterback this preseason, so it's not like they really need to see a lot more of Matt.
Talked a lot coming in about the starting running back situation as well. Lamar Miller, 8 carries in the first half for 35 yards, including a 20-yard run. As Devlin finds Rodriguez again, not tripped this time, and he moves up to just about a yard shy of the first down marker.
Shows a little creativity that time as he catches the football, gets a little spin move, turns it back inside, picks up an additional 4 or 5 yards.
Do you get the sense that they're going to carry a fullback, either him or Jaworski Lane, on the final roster?
Oh yes, for sure. And this kid Rodriguez is making a stance that he wants to be the guy.
And the way he catches the football, I wouldn't be surprised to see him keep 2 fullbacks, with the tight end situation as what it is.
Yeah, Rodriguez might be that extra body at tight end. We said earlier, in practice this week, he was working with the tight end group. Here's Gillisley, lowers his head, picks up a couple of yards. Mentioned Lamar Miller, 8 carries, 35 yards. Daniel Thomas, 7 carries for just 3 yards. His long run of the night, 5 yards. He got caught in the backfield a couple of times. Anything changing based on tonight at running back?
Well, I don't think anything really changes. I mean, each and every ball game, Lamar Miller's been the first guy in. What you want is a 2-back offense where you don't lose anything when the next guy comes in. And I think they got that with Daniel Thomas and Lamar Miller.
First down and 10 after that run. Dolphins, a little bit more traditional look here in the fourth quarter. I formation. It's Agnew, the tight end, going in motion. Gillisley, all kinds of traffic in the backfield. He's got nowhere to go. And we said earlier, teams around the NFL have to be down to 75 players on the active roster by 4 p.m. Tuesday. Dolphins are at 84 now after letting a nice handful of players go this week.
Well, and for some of those guys, it's a good thing because they've got longer period of time for maybe to catch on with another team. I mean, later this week, I guess it's what, Tuesday? The Dolphins will have to get down to 75.
No, Monday.
Monday. Is it Monday?
Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah, 4 p.m. But they'll probably
Jesse
get there.
just said it. I thought it was Monday.
I might have misspoken. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday, 4 p.m. And but it usually happens a little bit before that. And Richard Marshall, who you saw on that list, already latched on with the San Diego Chargers, signed there yesterday.
Right.
Wood runs a good route. Defender falls down, but because of the linebackers being out underneath, one thing about this Tampa defense, and the reason they're so solid, they play a lot of zone coverage, and their linebackers are pretty active. They get in the passing zones.
Another third down coming for Devlin and the Dolphins, and Tampa Bay wants to discuss this one. Greg Schiano calls the timeout with 5:12 to go. Big third down coming here in a 6-point game. It's funny. It's the preseason. There hasn't been any scoring really in the second half. 16-10, you kind of feel like this one's already done, but it's a one-score game here. And the Buccaneers and Greg Schiano, the intensity that he brings to the game. He's not about ready to pack this one in.
I'm going to let Bob handle that one, because one thing about Greg, and there's a good look at Greg there on the sideline, is he's a guy that basically is a defensive-minded guy that believes in mixing it up. There's no such thing as taking a play off, so he's gotten in a lot of trouble, or should I say a lot of people were mad with him on the kneel down.
It was against the Giants early last year. You got Dave Wanstead, now the special teams coordinator for Tampa Bay. Former Dolphin head coach, former Hurricane head coach Butch Davis is a coaching assistant for the Buccaneers. It's next door to us. You see Butch standing up in the back. Third down and 12. Devlin looking for some time. Going to flip it out. Gillisley at midfield. Mike Gillisley on the screen has the first down, and Gillisley's got more as he gets inside the 30-yard line before Sean Baker takes it down. 22-yard catch and run on third down and 12.
I like this kid. Matt, he's a Florida Gator, as you know, a rookie coming in here, 6'5", 5 or 6th round draft pick, and I like the way he runs.
He's a tough kid. He waited his turn at Florida, catches the ball well coming out of the backfield here, but does a nice job of reading his blocks, allowing them to get their block, and then once he knows what he needs for the first down, he turns and gets it.
First team All-SEC for Florida last year, over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns. In his Gainesville career, the Gators 15-1 when Mike Gillisley scored a touchdown. This time, not much happening in the backfield. He's going to lose a couple of yards there. Nice job coming up and making the hit by Khalil Gawad.
That's when you say, you know, I don't really know if I want to be a running back.
Quarterback, yeah. Devlin walked by him and said, "You all right, rookie?" He looked like he was breathing hard.
That play before looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Then you got a linebacker run through and tattoo you.
3-yard loss on the play. Second down, 13 from the 32-yard line. Clock is running, under 4 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Miami trying to seal this victory. Kyle Miller in motion is also part of this tight end conversation. Gillislee picks up a couple of yards. Nice head of steam as he headed to the line of scrimmage. Picks up a couple. Another third down coming for the Miami Dolphins. Going to be a quick turnaround for the team this week. Right back at it here, Sun Life Stadium on Thursday night against the Saints. Saw an entire first half out of the starters tonight. Probably won't be the case on Thursday.
Now, I don't think you'll see that. I think Thursday is the night that almost every team in the NFL want to play. They want to have that long week to get ready for the opening of the season. You know, the Dolphins have done it every year that I can remember. Their fourth or fifth game has always been on Thursday.
Well, I think the cut down next week is Saturday, isn't it, Jesse?
We're doing this again? It's the 31st, whatever day that is. Fumble on the play. Gillislee loses it. Tampa's got it, and we've got some room. Tampa Bay all the way on the near sideline, gets around Devlin. Sean Baker still going, and finally brought down at about the 25-yard line. Jonas Gray with the fumble, Baker with the recovery, and the long return, 46 yards. And just like that, in a 6-point game with 2:42 to go, Tampa Bay on another turnover by the Dolphins is set up in scoring position.
Yeah, if you care about who wins this meaningless preseason game, there's the fumble.
You know, and
Tampa Bay takes over on the Dolphin 25.
And that's one of the things that Coach Philbin talks about all the time is ball security and how it turns a game around. Third turnover of the evening for the Dolphins.
As Bob said, Buccaneers have it at the 25-yard line. Both of their scores a result of Dolphin fumbles to this point. Hillis running forward, gets to about the 20. Jelani Jenkins, Keelan Johnson stand him up there. Loud whistles from the officials, but Miami finishes the play. 5 total fumbles in this game tonight. It was raining a little bit, but I don't know that you can really blame it on the weather.
Well, I think that's just a slippery ball. It's hot out there. You got a lot of humidity. You're sweating. You get the ball against your arm and not have it tucked underneath. It's liable to come out.
Second down and 5 after the run by Hillis. Mike Glennon's got his guys at the 20. They don't have to run a play before the 2-minute warning. And Glennon's going to stand around and watch the clock tick down to 2 minutes. It's the Dolphins 16 and the Buccaneers 10. 2 minutes to go. Tampa Bay threatening to tie or take the lead. 2-minute warning here at Sun Life Stadium. Dolphins leading the Buccaneers 16-10. Tampa Bay taking over with good field position after the fumble by Jonas Gray and the big return by the Buccaneers. It'll be second down and 5 from the 20-yard line. Will Davis, by the way, back in the game for Miami. Looked like he tweaked something earlier, but the rookie cornerback up there at the top of the screen. Peyton Hillis, the lone setback for quarterback Mike Glennon. He'll get it, push forward, and power his way towards the first down marker. Comes up about a yard short before Jelani Jenkins takes him down. And you got third down 1 coming for Tampa Bay, trailing by 6 here, under 2 minutes to go in the fourth.
Jelani Jenkins, Lee Robinson, Josh Kadu, 3 linebackers that are trying to unseed Austin Spitler and Jason Trusnick. You know, you just don't know how many linebackers they're going to keep, Bob.
Get a good look there at Robertson. Hillis on 3rd and 1 picks up the first down, spins forward to about the 13-yard line, and that's where this will continue. Lee Robinson with the tackle, 1:21 to go. Clock is stopped as Greg Schiano takes his team's second time out here in the fourth quarter.
Well, a lot of your special teams players, your kickoff coverage and your punt coverage, there are a lot of those guys are defensive guys, and none of them are defensive linemen. They don't run that well, so a lot of them are linebackers and defensive backs. So you're going to keep 8 or 9 defensive backs, and you probably are going to keep 7 or 8 linebackers.
Yeah, you want guys that can run, that can help you on special teams. You know, very interesting. The Dolphins called timeout. coach working on his skills for the season, realizing that if they score, field goal could still win the game. So he's keeping time on the clock.
Now that's one thing that there was really no skip-ups or last year for Philbin, because he was a first-year coach and he really didn't make any real stupid calls from the sideline.
Hillis on 1st down and 10 stood up and dropped back. A couple of Dolphins getting in on that one. Lee Robinson cleaning it up at the end too. Yeah, it was my mistake. Miami had called that last time out, and now the clock is stopped again with 1:08 to go.
Very interesting that Tampa Bay continues to run the football.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing the ball down here.
Last time out taken now by the Dolphins. 68 seconds to go. Tampa's almost approaching this like they're down 2 as opposed to being down 6.
Well, I think most coaches at this point, they want to win the ball game. They've seen as much as they really want to see, or close to what they want to see.
Yeah.
And they want the game to end one way or another. We either win it or we lose it, but the game's going to be over here shortly. So they're not really worried that much about the clock, I don't think. At least Tampa Bay is not at this point.
Right.
But yeah, Joe Philbin working on some situational stuff defensively as far as clock management is concerned. 1:08 to go. It was a 1-yard run by Hillis, and so now 2nd down and 9 coming for Tampa Bay. Big thanks to all the crew here in South Florida putting this one together. You get a look at the number of people that are there. They do such a great job. 2nd and 9. Glennon out of the shotgun, looking over the middle, has his man, and into the end zone for the touchdown is David Douglas, the 2nd-year wide receiver with the TD reception. And Mike Glennon has pulled the Buccaneers even with a PAT coming.
That was just too easy, Bob.
It's just a short route, throwing a short route, and let him run up through. Wannstedt's telling him now you got to go for 2.
2nd consecutive week, Glennon and Douglas have hooked up for a touchdown.
And for it to be man coverage, you never saw the cornerback in that picture.
Yeah.
Derek Dimke comes on to try the extra point that would give Tampa Bay the lead. A little bit of a high snap. Dimke puts it in, and Tampa takes the lead. 17-16 Buccaneers, 1:03 to go in the 4th quarter. Joe Philbin clapping his hands on the sideline, trying to get his guys going. It has not been a big night for special teams. A couple of turnovers, but now an opportunity for the Dolphin return guys to set things up for the offense here with the Dolphins trailing by 1.
Here's another look at it, and right here, looked like the corner or the safety came off and just allowed him to go inside by himself. Didn't run with it.
But I think the two wide receivers were going down and run to the corner, and he was outside of them, and he was coming down inside, kind of like a crossing action. Remember in the old days, Nat, when these preseason games didn't matter? When you were behind 6 points, you just let the clock run down and go shake hands and go in.
Well, we're talking about Greg Schiano.
Schiano, yeah.
There's a difference there.
Dolphins, of course, only need a field goal here. 1:03 to go, no timeouts. Mike Gillislee back to return the kick for the Dolphins. Last week in Houston, he had a 30-yard kick return, a 28-yard kick return. Wonder if Dimke's going to give him the opportunity to run it back, or if they're just going to try and boot it at the end zone and force Miami to go from their own 20-yard line. Gillislee has a chance if he wants it, going to bring it out. Not 6 yards deep from the back of the end zone, and Mike Gillislee doesn't make it back to the 15-yard line. Brandon Smith, the rookie corner, takes him down, and so the Dolphins, they need some yards to get in Caleb Sturgis' range.
Well, guys, there was nothing wrong with him bringing it out. It just took him too long to make the decision. You know, when you take that long to make the decision, your blocking has already started, and you know we're close to getting into the holes.
Sturgis has a leg. I don't think there's any question about that. We've seen him hit from 58 in the preseason, but still, under a minute to go, no timeouts. And the Dolphins are going to have to move the ball quickly, and get out of bounds a couple of times, you would think, if they want to have a chance at what could be a game-winning field goal attempt. Devlin under pressure on first down. That's the last thing you want to happen in one of these situations. Stephen Means sacks Pat Devlin, and Miami's going to have to rush back to the line under 50 seconds to go.
You're right. That is the last thing that you want when you're doing this. You got to get rid of the ball. No sacks in a 2-minute drill.
On second and long, trying to go up the seam, incomplete. He's looking for the tight end, Kyle Miller.
Miller was open, but he was open in the middle of the field, not going up the seam.
Plus, Miller was late looking for the ball on that particular play.
Down to 36 seconds to go. Third down and 11. Tampa Bay has sacked Miami quarterbacks 4 times tonight. Dolphins, 5 sacks of Buccaneer quarterbacks. Third down and long, Devlin kind of backpedaling, flips it over to Miller, and Miller to about the 24-yard line. He'll be a yard shy of the first down. So 4th and 1 coming, and Miami's got to hurry under 30 seconds to go. They want a chance to continue this thing, got to pick up at least a yard here. Devlin over the middle, intercepted. And they'll just go down with it. Keith Tandy, the second-year safety, picks off Pat Devlin, and that will seal the victory with 10 seconds to go for the Buccaneers.
Well, not a real happy ending to this one. They got a lot of good work with the number 1 guys. The offense and the defense. The special teams didn't play that really well today. But this is a preseason game.
Preseason game, and basically you got the work. Hopefully everybody came out of this game healthy, which is the most important thing. And you've got some decisions to make.
And there it is, a Greg Schiano kneel down to put the final seconds away tonight. The Buccaneers come from behind late in the 4th quarter. They defeat the Dolphins 17-16. The coaches get together at midfield, and we'll be back with more from Sun Life Stadium. Final score again tonight, the Buccaneers 17 and the Dolphins 16. More coverage right after this.